Thanor. Our home. Our ruin. We could not see, no, refused to see the beauty that lay before us, blinded by our rage and greed. So we fight. It's all we know. To preserve what little we have. To save us from ourselves. We cannot afford to fail.
Hello and welcome to the Arena of Valor non-pro tournament live from ESL Studios. Over the next 5 weeks, 6 nations will compete, each vying for a coveted spot at DreamHack Winter and $100,000. Each nation is represented by 2 teams, one of popular internet celebrities that you'll know and love, and another of aspiring, qualified, non-professionals who may very well for the first time be taking their first steps in a live LAN environment. Whoever you decide to root for, you can catch the action here, live, every Saturday. And so without further ado, let's dive straight into the fray. Renee, over to you and your team on the desk.
Thanks, Spike, and welcome at the analyst desk of the Arena of Valor Non-Pro Tournament 2017. My name is Renee Butler, and I'm joined by beautiful people with familiar faces. We'll be Moman and Drage. Hey guys, nice to have you. It's really great to have you at the desk. Hope you like it so far.
Oh. Definitely. Looks really awesome here.
That's great to hear. We got Arena prepared for Arena of Valor, but it's also Halloween weekend, which you might notice because you're seeing people running around with weird mask makeup. Some of them might have that as a daily makeup, who knows? But Halloween is full of surprises, and we got a surprise for you as well.
Yoo-hoo! Daddy's home! Ooh! Let's give him a show! Joke's over!
Arena of Valor. Download and play now.
Yes, we will definitely get you a show over here with Joker. Maybe you will even get picked during the games, but more DC content for your Arena of Valor account. Guys, Joker's available for gold in-game only, so no need to do anything else. Got you enough gold laying around to get him?
Yeah, I got him. I haven't tried him so much yet, if I'm going to be honest.
What about like Batman Nemesis? Like, is it Batman or Joker for you?
I think for me it's Batman. I like it when he's hiding and doing everything. I prefer Batman.
All right, we heard that. Batman and Joker will be one of the biggest matchups we might have during the game. Arena of Valor, obviously, a mobile game available on iOS and Android system. Is that something that really suits your lifestyle, like having a game, even a competitive 5v5 game that you can play everywhere?
At the beginning, when I found out it's a game for mobiles, I was surprised. I didn't know that at first, and I was skeptical actually. But it's really fun, and the games are fast, so you can play them on the bus or whatever you're doing. So in that sense, I really like it actually.
What about you? Where do you play the game the most?
I think, no, the most not, but sometimes when you go to the toilet, it's very nice. Or shitting sometimes, because it's very quickly. Or you can do everywhere, when you're waiting on the bus, when you're waiting with your friend, or everything. It's very quickly, so I like it. It's waste time, no.
Is that, like, since you can use your time then to gaming, does that help when it comes to practice? Since, I know from my days when I'm still playing games on the pro level, that you always have to get your time to actually practice. And no, you can practice on the couch while watching a movie. Does that help?
I think there's a risk there, though, because if you end up just playing casually, lying next to your wife in the sofa, you don't end up actually practicing. But other from that, of course, you get more time. You have more chances of getting that practice. So there is something to it there, yeah.
Yeah, he's right. You need to be focused when you play. You don't play for play. You play for practice. So you need to be focused. So yeah, you can do everywhere, but you need to be focused. It's important.
You need to be focused, you heard that, guys. Of course, when you play casual, that works, so that's what I do, play casual on the couch rather than doing ranked, because otherwise I would get wrecked every single minute. But talking about competitive play, we got the format for you guys out there, so you know what's coming up the next 5 weeks with Arena of Valor. So every country will be represented by 2 teams, one with internet celebrities, one with the non-pro teams. They all score on the same scorecard, means if the French team will win on the influencer side, then they get 3 points. If the team non-pro wins as well, 6 in total. So that's something they're looking for. And all of these teams want to score as many points as possible because they want to go to DreamHack Winter for that 100K prize pool. That's a lot of money for the players involved here. And if you think now, hey, what about me? I'm not winning anything. Spike got an info for you.
That's right, René. There's not just winners here in the studio or from the players. We've also got winners at home too. You guys can compete in our giveaway. You'll see the URL on your screen right now. We have 3 iPhone 8s and 1 iPhone X to give away per country. So all you need to do is support the country that you want from this tournament. Like, follow, get all that good AOV stuff going, and you very well may have a brand new shiny iPhone X or iPhone 8 in your sticky little mitts before the month is over, and it's not even Christmas yet. So double presents for people. How good is that, René?
That sounds perfect, actually, especially if you look at my phone, because my display is not in the best shape. Well, that's all right, because we're not here to talk about my phone. We talk about matches that are coming up. We will start today with the non-pro teams going head-to-head. It will be Sweden against France, a big matchup. Right after that, we will have the game highlights for you, because all the non-pro teams play every week. The internet celebrity teams, they only play here in our arena when they're live with us, but all the other teams, they play every week. We will bring you all the game highlights, so you're up to date with the newest standings. And right after that, we got the big highlights where these people right next to me will play. That's the internet celebrity team matchup. Will be Sweden against France as well. Those 2 countries will have day number 1 on the competition. Guys, talking about nations, regions, and all of that, we know it always develops differently in different regions. Arena of Valor is new to the competitive environment. How is it doing in Sweden so far?
I haven't thought about it so much on a national level, I guess, but I think people still is a little bit concerned about the fact that it's on a cell phone, so it's going to take a little while to get people to actually understand that it's a great game, because it is. So right now I think it's just in the startup, and maybe this event will help it further. I guess it will.
We know that France is a very strong country when it comes to esports. So many games, we see French teams at the top. Will we have the same in Arena of Valor?
I think perhaps they need to, he said everything. It's a player, we don't know, it's mobile, it's wrong, it's different, perhaps it's working, not. But I think perhaps on the future they will be good for esports. So perhaps when I saw the Team France non-pro, they are playing a lot, they're working a lot. I think they will show a big thing.
Hard-working guys in the world of Arena of Valor. We had to hard work before that because this show is in Poland, which means all of us had to catch some flights to get here. I hope your travel was all right.
It's good.
Yeah, me too.
How did you get here? It was all by plane, right?
Yeah, plane.
Yeah, 2 planes, yeah.
No delays?
2 planes.
No
delays, no.
Wow. That's something I dream of every single day, having no delays while traveling around the world for shows. That's good. It's good to hear. All right, guys. Those people, they know, like my guests, they know the teams, the non-pro teams coming up next, but you might not know them yet, which is why we got a small video for you to introduce them.
Oh, yeah.
I started playing Arena of Valor when I saw the post on ESL website. I was looking on Steam and typing to my guide. I asked him, like, do you got any more players? Because I want to play this tournament.
I got into the team because my friend Oscar called me and like, hello, let's start to play mobile games again. And I was like, yeah, I have nothing to do today.
Representing my country in Arena of Valor is a really awesome thing to do.
To represent Sweden in Poland feels a bit strange. It's been an experience.
I feel really honored.
And it's a lot of fun.
I think it's a great feeling. It's a great experience. We know each other from before, so we have a good spirit.
We are patient and we'll wait for the right time to strike. When we strike, we will strike hard. We have no fear of the fans.
We are going to win. Team Sweden gonna be going out as the winners.
I find the game at the beginning.
Actually, I was playing with one of the players of the German team.
That was a friend that called me, this game is new and you can try it.
We just decided to make two teams separately, and now we have our lineup from each other.
The feeling to represent my country is really awesome.
I was impressed because I didn't know that we will be representing a country.
And I hope we'll do the best to represent the France. The strong side of our team is, first of all, we are all French, so to communicate is very easy.
Communication and reactivity.
We focus on objectives to win the game. About the Sweden, we don't know him very much.
I think what scares me the most is that we don't have so much information about them.
It will be the first match against them. The score tomorrow will be 2-0 for us. I hope so.
Of course, I will say that we will win, because of course I'm supporting my team.
We'll do the best for it, but I think we will win 2-0 tomorrow.
Introducing the blue team, represented by Sweden. In the top lane, Shelby. As carry, Hasseman. In the mid lane, Oge. In the jungle, Dope Lobo. And as support, it's Kingster. And introducing the red team, represented by France. In the mid lane, it's Lufen. In the jungle, Sutaro. As carry, it's Moon. In the top lane, Flo. And in support, it's Jemik.
We saw some people smiling already. I like that, like coming onto the stage smiling, enjoying the moment. Is that something you liked when you were still playing?
Yeah, the only thing I was concerned about was the French look so calm. Do they realize that this is a game or not, or are they just really in the right mood?
I think they're on the one of. I think the team is one of the best of the team of the game, and they realized they were speaking about with his manager, and it was focused. So I think it's a good mood. They're strictly, we don't care about what is going on. Let's go play and destroy them.
And both teams so confident. I don't know.
I think Sweden will gonna die.
I'm gonna focus on my game, and you know that you are gonna go up against me. So
we start the fight here at the desk already, guys. It's not you that needs to battle in the first match.
Okay,
it's all right.
Sorry.
We'll start with a non-pro team, so don't worry about that. We know that some of the players, I didn't know Matt before because that's the first offline event, the first event we're doing here in our non-pro tournament 2017. That's why we sent them on a bit of bowling so they get to know each other.
I I think this kind of bowling games, when you play as a team, is like a bit of team building. So you can see people when they are pushed in their borders, outside their borders. You know, you see them when they are losing or when they are having every eyes watching them and like a pressure on them. So we can see when the team needs help from the other members, and that's why this kind of event help us to see what weakness we can work on as a team, and how we can be a better team players. No, it's fine, it's really good.
The bowling game, it was really fun, and you get to know the other guys from the French team, so you get this like friendly feeling. It's nice for the team spirits and stuff. You get to socialize, trade some words, you know. From this experience, you get like a little bit of information about the other team and stuff, and you get to know them better and how their styles are and stuff.
I like the way how we socialize with each other, the team, and there was a little bit of kind of competition spirit between us, so I like it. And it's very social, it helps to break the ice between the team before starting the game.
It's gonna be a good game, I think. They got more experience than us, but the Swedish, the Arena of Valor platform in Sweden is pretty young, so we're an upcoming team. You can call us like a dark horse or something.
I think we have more experience in general as a team than them. So we have our key points are our communication in game, and we are able to reply fast to the enemy moves. So I think we are winning because of those key points.
The French team striking on bowling. Is that something you enjoy when you're not playing?
I usually lose, and I don't enjoy losing, so no.
Yeah, sometimes I win, I'm happy, but the thing is, I make fun when I go to the LAN after the event, not before.
They had some fun before. I mean, it was all about team building, but when I saw some of those shots, I just hope that does not translate to the skill shots.
It could be, actually.
Could be.
That's a good point. Yeah.
We don't know yet, but I guess we will figure out soon. Next match up, you know, it's a non-pro. It's Sweden versus France. Guys, we need predictions, and I know that you're biased because you're French, you're Swedish, makes sense. But give me a reason why your team is winning this.
Well, I've heard the French team has played together for a long time, and for me that's one of the biggest strengths in MOBA, to generate a good team spirit and atmosphere. So even though I'm Swedish, I actually think that's the winning concept of something like this. So I'm going to go with the France team. Sorry, guys.
Surprise. What were you, Moment?
Same of him, 2-0 for France, because they're very strong, they're focused, and yeah, they play a lot. And on MOBA and a team, when you play so many times on the same team, you got experience and everything, and I think for me 2-0. Yeah.
All right, that leaves it to me to root for Sweden. That's all right. But players
you can still root for them, right?
It's okay. We will get that done.
Yes.
But no problem. The game's are ready, the players are ready, which means I can throw it over to my favorite casters, and this will soon be yours. Guys, take it away.
Thank you very much, Renee. And we've been here. You know what? I'll root for Sweden. Will you root for Sweden with me?
No. I'm going to choose France. They've looked so dominant.
My name is TJ, joined by Envision, and we do have a great game here. We have Sweden, who's, I think they correctly described themselves in their own video. They said, we're a dark horse, and I think that really is accurate. We've seen, I think, 2 matches out of them in the qualifiers, and neither of those were streamed. So we know they're good enough to win the qualifiers, and based on their previous competitive experience, many of the players have been very good in other games before, but we don't know how that applies here.
Yeah, definitely the competitive experience from previous games does come at hand here, because this is a kind of high pressure scenario, because you're competing for a spot at DreamHack and a chance to win that money. So I think any previous competitive experience is going to help them out here.
Yeah, so it should be interesting to see. And as we get into the draft here, I'm going to be interested to see what kind of composition we really do see, because throughout the last few days, they've been here just messing about, playing a few mock games, that type of thing, and we've seen kind of consistently different compositions. I think there's a lot of trying to hide your real strategy behind all that. And I was actually speaking to the French guys right before the game, and they were saying there's only, 20 characters that we know work right now because of how new the game is. I'm wondering if they are going to stick to those 20 characters or so, or if we're going to see some surprises.
Yeah, they've said that only about 20 characters are useful. It does come to fruition if you watch the qualifiers as well as the previous Community Cups. There's only so much variation that goes through, and most of the teams that do good and are really strong in the competitive scene right now utilize that about 20 character pool.
Yeah, and a lot of that isn't even necessarily because only those 20 are viable. I think it has a lot to do with the fact that the game is really new in the Western regions, so we're not yet comfortable trying a lot of interesting strategies. One of the things that should force those interesting strategies out, though, is the fact that the Joker, that character that's just been added, is playable today. And we've seen a couple of Jokers in a few of the test games, the trial games, and he's looked deadly in some of them.
Yeah, the Joker is gonna come through for the side of France here, and we've spoke about it behind the scenes, but the Joker, one of those characters that can have a huge impact because Joker's range is so deadly. So he's able to poke people even when they're behind the turret.
Yeah, he has an almost absurd amount of range, where many of the characters in this game, if you're able to really get away, if you're able to break away, you're safe, at least for a moment. The Joker, he can hit you from off screen.
Yeah.
And that is terrifying, and in the hands of a great player like Moon, that can lead to you just dying without even really knowing it's about to happen.
Yeah, the Joker's punches can come from out of the blue there, from the fog of war there, and it's really deadly. You can't predict those, and the projectile speed is so fast as well that it's really difficult for the people to dodge this skill.
What do you think about the rest of the draft, though? Because as we get into the game here, you should be able to see it. And it looks like there aren't very many surprises. Couple DBS, couple tank, and of course the jungler on both teams.
Yeah, jungler for both teams. I'm a little bit surprised seeing Murad come through. He's been really highly banned in the previous cups here. So I think Murad is something that is really deadly coming through. And it's going to the hands of French, who have looked so dominant.
Yeah, they've been really strong in all their games so far. So I said I was rooting for Sweden. That was the truth. I wasn't lying. But it is an underdog story.
Yeah, Sweden definitely is the dark horse. We've mentioned it so many times already. But the French side does not have any idea how Swedish people play. They haven't seen the matches. There's only kind of the pictures to go off of, and they don't reveal much about what the team is going to do strategy-wise.
Yeah, so I think especially because the qualifiers were restricted to a region, you get situations where you don't know how play is developing within a specific region, and that's kind of cool.
Yeah, the player development, even across these tournaments, I think will be one of the things we're going to be seeing a lot of. These players improving constantly, tournament to tournament. These guys are going to look ways to find advantage over their enemies.
Look at Lufen here. He's pushing really aggressively into the jungle here for France, and that's going to give them a little bit of vision and the opportunity to start creating opportunities if he doesn't go down.
Yeah, the French side are really strong, and they do this a lot. They send, when Lufen's cleared the lane, they send Lufen to scout the enemy jungle for those possible rotations. As Batman right now hanging around middle, a possible gank happening there as Batman's gonna go in, and that is a first blood coming through for the side of Sweden as they claim this first blood and take a little bit of a gold lead here.
Yeah.
1 minute or 1:50 in.
And that's significant. Doug Lover over on the Batman snuck up round the side into the bushes, leapt out, and because he's a jungler, he can do terrifying amounts of damage if he's chained in with another DPS character, which they managed to do, but a little bit of good teamwork. Now the Swedish side's looking to convert that into the Abyssal Dragon if they can for that HP lead. There already are respawns though, so they're gonna have to be careful, because I think they've kind of missed their opportunity, and now they need to spread back out, cover those lanes, not let anything slip through.
Yeah, they let Zill respawn, so it's really difficult to do anything about it. I think at this point, the side of Sweden are gonna look for another gank and possibly turn that into an Abyssal Dragon. But we've spoke so many times, the Abyssal Dragon, one of the more impactful objectives on the map.
And Dope Lobo it looks like the primary target here. You see Genic and I believe that's Moon both going for him. He thinks he's going to be okay here as he's got the backup, but this is a really aggressive push by Gemic, and actually he could be in trouble here because Kingster's coming through. Lobo there with the extra damage. Gemic has the HP to build the distance, but that is definitely not the best start.
Yeah, Mapman gets a little bit poked there, but the pull coming through from Grok, beautiful timing there, coming through from the side of Sweden. They just find that initiation there as Lobo is gonna find himself in a difficult spot as Zill and Sutaro are there to clean the house, as we have ourselves French side returning the kill that they were behind on, and now making it 1-1.
I love this pressure deep into the jungle. Keep that pressure on, convert that kill instantly into a little bit more, and they're going to get greedy and go for this bottom lane. Gemic might be in trouble.
Yeah, Gemic got pulled under the turret. He was able to escape, fortunately, because Hasi does not have any sort of CC to lock them down. As we see, French side are going to try to sneak an Abyssal Dragon here. Gangster is going to come in. He's going to spot this out to the side of Sweden. Knows it's happening. Gemic's going to go in. L'Oreal's jumping around. Thane ultimate comes out, but it's not going to matter right now. The side of Sweden have lost 2, but the side of France is taking more casualties. Moon is trying to find Auge. Auge is under one. He's not going to be able to get away. Moon with the auto attacks is going to come through, and throughout all of that chaos, the Abyssal Dragon gets picked up by the French side.
And that is incredibly significant. The fight looked deadly. If the Swedes had been able to fully capitalize on it, pull through, grab Moon a little bit more, then they easily get that Abyssal Dragon, and that may very well have been the game. As is, though, with the fight once again being relatively even, and Abyssal Dragon going to France, you now have them back in the lead, I would almost say, with a very slight gold lead, and definitely better positioning in this period. Watch top lane, though.
Yeah, the 1.3k lead coming through top lane. We have a gang coming on. It's going to be on to Lubu there. Flo is going to be in a lot of trouble. Shelby has to be careful. He's falling lower and lower. He's going to get cleaned up. Lufin has rotated as well. Flo is going to be able to get away as Lufin for now. He's going to try to fight a kill. Auge is going to run to the safety of the turret as they have to be careful here. Dope Lobo as well as Auge are going to be able to make it to safety. Joker as well as Thane both coming in. So the side of France is going to look for these kills.
I love what Moon's doing here. If he's able to get away with it, it's cheeky as all hell, but I don't think it's going to happen. Lobo is playing so behind on the turret. We talked about the range of that Joker. So what Moon was trying to do was come in from the side and leverage that range over the wall, try and find a pick on the 2 relatively low HP members of the Swedish side underneath the turret. As is, they're not going to get that, but they do still find a decent amount of damage on the turret. Sutaro in the back lines. He's going to get that kill.
Yeah, he's going to pick up a Batman. Really good kill there by Sutaro. Now the French side can collapse onto this turret, and this is going to be interesting. Will Sweden be able to defend themselves? We have Auge on the backside. The French side does not know he's there. Lufin is finally going to find that out. This Gemic is going to go in. The knockup's going to come through. Kingstar is going to be the front line, but this is a turret dealing so much damage to the French side. As for now, 3 people are going to get cleaned up, but not without casualties, as France loses 2 members themselves.
That is, though, a massive win for France, and they're looking for more. Flow down bottom is going to scare off Hassan. I think he won't go for that Mind Golem, which is, I love a decision. It's so easy when you're winning by that much. You won the team fight, things are looking up to get a little bit greedy. But he's made the decision to fall off. It might not be enough, though. Lobo's coming through. Flo's going to be tagged down quite bad here. He's been stunned out, and he's not going to be able to make it back underneath the turret, at least not easily. Lobo should have a pick, but Flo is just dodging masterfully.
Yeah, the Batarang's gonna pop. It's not gonna finish him off as we have French side not gonna come in. We have a 3-man rotation, and that's a deadly combo as Lufin used Tornado as well, and they're gonna secure the kill. Gemic coming through for their side.
So many times in those pre-game videos we saw Gemic talking about their teamwork. That's an example of that. You see a lot of pressure in the bottom lane, you make the adjustment, you say Flo, fall back, we've got all our teammates coming through, and now look at that gold lead, look at that equipment lead. It is really beginning to build up as this second Abyssal Dragon goes to the French side.
Yeah, 4.5 thousand lead for the French side is really big at this point in the game. The Swedish side has to climb this hill, and they need to find some sort of leeway in this game. As we previously saw, Flo being on the bottom side, and this is what we see France doing as well, is if they claim that top turret, they're gonna send their solo player down bottom to push that lane as well.
They're going for this Spirit Sentinel, just a little bit of extra money, and I think they're really scouting, trying to make sure that they can grab that Dark Slayer up top, maybe I don't know, get it for free. At the very least, make sure the Swedes aren't taking an effort at it. But Sweden was far more concerned about bottom lane. Now they've cleared it, they're all going to rotate through mid, and this might be a massive team fight.
Yeah, it looks to be a team fight initiation here soon enough, as all the members from both of these teams. We have a beautiful pull! Oh my god, Moon's gonna be able to jump away. Well, Devour comes on to Jamek. He's gonna be in a lot of trouble. He's gonna get cleaned up. Meanwhile, in the jungle, we have another fight happening. Shelby gets cleaned up. Flo, as well as Lufin, are there. Okay, has to run, is gonna jump away with the L'Oreal. As Sutaro is gonna give chase, has to be careful. There's so much damage coming his way. Violet is gonna clean this one up. Lufin is gonna jump in, but he has to run away. The Wind Blades are gonna come through to stop the enemies from advancing forward. For now, the side of French are gonna cut their losses and just run away.
That was a great fight by the Swedes. They played that so well, using Kingster on the Grak as an initiation. He was able to find first to hook, and then the World Devour ultimate came through, both having the same effect of just pulling people close, holding them underneath the turret, so that not only the turret's doing damage, but also his teammates are there to stack up the damage and find several kills against the much higher level and much better bot players.
Yeah, the Paul as well as World Devour, they were on two separate people. So both of these guys fell low because they got caught out like that. And that's not what the French side wants to do. They're so good in unison when they're grouped together as that 5-man and roaming and doing work as a team.
And they're going to start doing that again, I think. You can see the French side beginning to group up, try and work together inside these bushes again for bursts of damage onto individual members who stray a little bit too close. That might be Augie.
Augie's gonna get caught out. He's gonna be focused. Good use of endurance, and the jump over to Augie's gonna be safe for now, as Batman's gonna clean up the Joker. We had that classic fight happening, and Batman coming out on top. Kingster, however, is gonna lose his life. Augie's on the run, and he has to be careful. He has fallen. Shelby, for now, is gonna give chase, but he is, for now, gonna be in a bad spot because Flo is gonna chase him down and pick up the kill. Meanwhile, Murad is split pushing up top, so that is definitely an interesting way that this game has developed right now.
Yeah, this is a really good performance, all things considered, from the Swedes, given how far behind they are, but they're already taking main damage. Susaro deep into the base. I don't think Lobo can stop him. I think he's going to be able to cheese this, and he totally does. That's going to be an easy victory for France, despite a very good effort in the end. They actually slip a member right into the back face. The Mirage just chips away, and I don't know.
This just leaves you speechless, right? It was looking good for Sweden at the end phase there, but then a sneaky push by Zutaro comes through, and the split push just so strong, and it happened so fast. And it's just, the Swedish side didn't see it coming.
I'm actually in shock that that worked. Because you try so hard, you spend so much of the time chipping damage at each other, being very, very careful to take these team fights cleverly, and then you just lose track of bottom lane, and somebody slides on through, picks up the base.
Yeah, that was definitely an interesting development there, with the Murad being able to pick up the base like that. Definitely has to be more attention coming through from the side of Sweden if they want to redeem themselves in Game 2 and have a chance of taking this into Game 3.
I do think, though, we saw a few games from Sweden and France in the kind of pre-game when we were doing the rehearsals. That was the best showing we've seen from Sweden, and they did definitely have marked improvements on those games. Right? They looked much more coordinated. I loved the use of Grak during that game as an excellent initiation, and they were able to so many times control these team fights that the French team have been brutally efficient at winning across all of their games. I think that was 2-3 team fights the Swedish side won, and that is a really impressive improvement.
Yeah, it definitely is impressive there, and we're going to have to see if Sweden can continue this up as well.
Yeah, I hope to see them improve. I'm sure the desk, though, has their own thoughts about it. So, Renee, what did you think of the game?
Wow, what a game to kick off the Arena of Valor non-pro tournament. I actually thought in the first second, seeing the underdog, Sweden, taking first spot, I was like, wow, we're in for a really surprise, like for big surprise. They're playing good, they're playing well, and then their jungler falls Batman. We saw him dying too early, maybe too aggressive. I mean, he saw all his opponents around him all the time. He was aware of them and still get killed. Is that something of being overconfident, even as an underdog? You know you're not the favorite team, but you got that moment, you got the momentum going on, and then being too greedy?
I don't know if I thought that he was greedy. I think they moved well on him, the French team, and made sure to kill him when they needed to kill him. And the first blood then, after all, wasn't worth so much as that kill on Batman. And when he died, they did a lot of other things because he died, so they worked good with it. Sweden came back in the end, though, but they didn't realize that there was a guy split pushing. So I don't know if they actually came back or if that was just bait fights.
I mean, we can do this step by step. So we know after Jungler fell that the next big fight, the first big team fight we saw in the game was won by Franz. They actually get the Abyssal Dragon out of it as well. So even more gold on their side. They could just carry with that first kill they had against Batman, even if they didn't have first blood. We see that great hook by Kingstar into the tower, which was, for me, I thought that could have been the turning moment.
Yeah, it was a nice hook. I thought he would survive, though, because he blinked out or something, but they got one kill out of that, right?
They did, yes.
I had this feeling that France always were one player more. You know, you have that feeling when you are a little bit behind, you know?
I'm pretty sure we counted. I guess 5 on each. I'm pretty sure about that.
I want to see those numbers.
I like the game style of France because they are so aggressive. So aggressive to every minute, aggressive, and they didn't see what happened on the top when he back and he killed the main. That's the thing of when you're so aggressive. They are thinking about what we need to do. We can't do nothing. They are doing everything. We don't play. I think Sweden didn't play his game style because France didn't let them. That's the thing of I like it. Aggressive everywhere. We need to switch and don't see what's happened. That's the thing of.
Yeah, they went under the tower very early as well, and it looked bad for them, but they had control. I mentioned it to you then during the game as well. That's a sign of confidence for sure.
We see Luthen getting away with the MVP, but yeah, it's that last push from France. We saw Sweden getting back into the game, picking up some kills, but do you ever had that moment? To me, it feels like it must be devastating. You're trying to get back into the game, you're thinking like, oh guys, we got this, we're not done yet. And then you realize someone's actually just cheesing you beyond your back door.
And you're actually fighting 5 versus 4 because there's another guy somewhere else. Well, that is really annoying, of course. And I don't know how good the France team is. If they really did that on purpose, then I'm impressed, actually.
Yeah, the thing in Sweden, I think they saw alone and they said, let's go take the fight, 4 versus 5. We can kill the fight and win it. But they play so defensively, giving time for the last player destroying the main. So yeah, I think it was purpose. It was nice cheese.
Does such an ending have a bigger impact on the losing team than just, let's say, a normal game ending?
I think it comes very much down to who is the captain and what you say to the team after something like that. You could always make them say to the team that this was a mistake, just a minor mistake, we will come back next game, and you can just leave it like that. But if you end up having too much bad thoughts about this, then you can just end up saying, dude, we look so bad in that game. We failed on such a critical point. So it comes down to how the leadership works, in my opinion.
They need to forget what happened for the Swedes. If they don't forget, they will get out of the game.
Yeah, next match is, of course, coming up. This was only match number 1 in our BO3 between France and Sweden, the non-pro team starting off this tournament, the Arena of Valor non-pro tournament. To get them ready for the second game, we will hop into a short break. Don't go anywhere because you don't want to miss any of the action. See you in a minute. back to the Arena of Valor Non-Pro Tournament 2017. We're on week 1 of the competition, 5 weeks in total, and we got the game France versus Sweden. The non-pro teams currently running for the first points of the competition. 1-0 down so far for Sweden. What? You're still celebrating that. That's totally fine.
He was high-fiving the team.
Yeah, I saw that. I call that cheating.
No, but now I look bad, you know. I didn't have the time to do it, and he did it first, so...
It's okay, you were cheering.
Yeah, but if I do it now, afterwards...
You got an excuse now in case you lose the second game.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
We're all good with that, right?
That's good.
Being 1-0 down in this series, what's up next then?
I think both teams are in for a new kind of challenge with having, I mean, leading 1-0 also means that next game you might win this series. And if you start thinking about that too much, that could be a really difficult thought to have. I mean, the French team has been playing together for a long time, that's good, but it could also create like a new energy for the Swedes, and they could be really strong and come out hard, but they could also fall very fast. So I expect either a very fast game or maybe a longer, more even game.
Yeah, I saw the team. There was a little smiling after that. It's like, okay, so they wasn't falling on the bad thing. I think for them, both teams, they didn't show the best level because it's the first tournament, I think. So you got so many pressure. People are looking when you fail, when you fall. So you got a big stress. But I think when I see the 10 player, they are okay. They're okay. We lost. We win. We need to be focused. I think they're gonna show a very big, better level of before.
So it seems like both teams are still focused here for our first matchup. But what needs to be different on the Swedish side? We saw it was not a full letdown. We saw them coming back into the game. We saw them taking first spot, which was very, very important. How do they get back on a win in the second game?
I like talking about the fear of losing rather than having the joy or goal of winning. In these situations, especially when they're new players for like playing on screen and stuff like that. Swedes, I would like to see them wanting to win more, not just play for the safe, not just play for not losing, like the French did. If you run under a tower that early, you want to win. You're not here to not lose, which is actually a mentality that I worked a lot with my teams when I played as well. I would like to see the Swedes dare more and just, let's play it out, let's see how good we really are, and they are better than what we saw the last game, like you said. Probably the French too, as well.
Yeah, but the thing is, they don't have nothing to lose because they know this team normally is the best team, one of the best team of the world. So they lose 0-1, but they will say, okay, we don't care. We're gonna do what we can. We don't have nothing to lose. But the France, if they lose, they said, what the hell?
Yeah.
What is going on? We're the best team and we're losing. So they can't be fear about losing. Fear about
exactly.
If we lose everything. So we don't know what has happened now.
I wish I knew more fishy strats, if that's available in this game. I don't know enough to talk about them, but in a situation like this, if it was another MOBA that I know about, I would probably bring out something a little bit fishy and show them what we got, because that could also set someone really off from the beginning, and then you just work on that momentum.
Will the French Revolution get another win here? Will the Swedish strike finally come in? I'm pretty sure that the players are ready, and I know that TJ and Envision are eager to show us the game.
Yeah, Renee, I'm pretty pumped because last game I think was the best showing we've seen in a long time from Sweden, because we've only seen it once. But they're easily the best showing from Sweden we've ever seen on stream. So it can only go up from here, and I'm pretty excited because they did show spots of light there.
Yeah, confidence, I believe, is what they were showing. And it's really good to be confident in this stage of the tournament. If you're on the Swedish side, you have a couple of players that have competed before. So, if anything, these players know how to cope with this losing scenario and how to come back from that.
Yeah, and we do have the picks and bans phase. It should be on your screen right now, and we can start to go through it. What do you think so far? We have an early ban of the Batman, and that really does feel targeted from the Swedes.
Yeah, the Batman was really impactful there. Also, Batman is a really great pick. The Dark Knight coming from the jungle, the invisibility, you just can't predict that. As well as the damage that Batman has is incredibly insane early game.
And it was incredibly effective last game for the French. So we'll see him forced off of Batman And we do see actually a first pick of Zuka, which is another incredibly powerful jungler.
Yeah, Zuka has seen a lot of success in the community comps as well as the qualifiers. Has 75% win ratio, which is highest in the characters that get picked so often.
What do you think? Anything else jumping out at you? I'm looking at a certain little monkey there.
Yeah, Wukong's gonna come through. Wukong's a really strong pick. By no stretch of the imagination is it a bad pick to have. And if you practiced with him as well, Wukong has that kind of invisibility ganking factor that Batman usually has. So similar playstyles there.
Of course, over on the French side, you've got your jungler, your 2 DPSs, Violet, or Marksman, Violet and Valheim. And then you close that off with, I think it's safe to say, tankier support and a tank, right?
Yeah, Chaugnar into Malak is an interesting combination because mainly because we have seen so little Malak in these tournaments, and Malak is one of those characters that can have huge impact or it can just fade away. We don't know if it's part of the 20 characters that are so strong because we don't see it that often. But the last pick, Alice. Now, this is an interesting to see here because of the fact that Alice is usually first pick or ban. So Alice getting through the whole of the draft and Swedish side being able to pick it up, I think is definitely interesting here.
Yeah, normally Alice has been first picked or even banned here because she is one of the more powerful support and one of the more powerful support characters in more ways than just healing. She can, especially with her ultimate Hissy Fit, throw that out and it amplifies damage and slows opponents. So it's really great for stacking damage on top of it.
She doesn't have an heal, but the shield from Friendship, as well as the stun and the silence coming through from the Hissy Fit ultimate. The AoE silence can really disrupt the enemy team trying to advance forward and kind of find that perfect initiation that they're looking for.
Yeah, we saw last game the Grak came out. That hook was incredibly important for Sweden in the fights they did win, with great teamwork setting up to get the fights they'd like. I suspect we'll see the same thing here. The Swedes, they have characters that work well together, and I think they'll do exactly that.
Yeah, Sweden has a relatively interesting composition here coming through. Linus is one of the characters that I think deserves a mention because of the fact that Violet actually went to the French side. So now Swedish were forced to pick up some sort of carry, and Swedish is really good with Valheim. I think we've seen it in practice as well. So I think the French side took Valheim as well, and then Swedish side decided that Tellanis would be their next go-to choice. But Tellanis has the range, same as Violet basically, so she can outrange a turret if necessary as well.
It's also worth noting, last game started looking better and better for the Swedes the longer it went on. And it ended on kind of a cheesy note. The French, of course, famous for their cheese, perhaps brie. That top lane push that managed to confirm the whole game maybe gets caught out in this game. Maybe you don't make a mistake like that, you're not as nervous, and the Swedes do win out in the long game. That is something they brought up during their interviews prior to the tournament. They said that they like to wait for the long game and kind of only put out all their effort and all the resources when the time is right.
Yeah, the Swedish team used, I believe, the wording, we're an upcoming team. So even if right now it doesn't succeed for them, they've shown so strong performance that going forward it can only get better, and these teams are going to have to watch out for them.
Yeah, on paper, this matchup, we were going into it thinking, oh, the French are going to win easily. Last game wasn't that. Yes, the French did win, but they definitely struggled. They lost a few team fights, and for one of the top teams in the world, that's significant for Sweden. I hope to see more from them, and I hope to see them growing, and we'll be getting, I believe, into the game in just a few moments so that we can see these picks that you can see on your screen right now in action.
Yeah, Flow on the Malak on top lane, now that is going to be such an interesting pick. So I'm really interested to see how this works out. Malak's ultimate is such a strong initiator, and we're going to have to see how the French side use it.
Yeah, I'm looking once again for the targeted aggression that we talked about, and in contrast to the qualifiers where we saw a lot of really, really aggressive pushes by full team units, sometimes 3 or 4 players, throughout the actual league play so far, we've seen very, very passive initiations.
Yeah, French side is taking a little bit of slower note in these games. We've seen so many times that French team likes to go aggressive early, and this is not what we're seeing in these games thus far. They're taking a slower start, playing it out, and we've spoke so many times, the mid to late game phase is where some of the teams are really strong, but they need to get through the early as well. And if you give away those early kills, that's going to result in you having a really difficult time going into mid or late.
We do have a bit of a push down here at bottom. Gemma and Moon, they're trying to just go ahead and get a minion wave started so that they can really pressure what is a shorter range tanky character underneath the turret.
Yeah, Shelby has to be careful until he gets some sort of backup. Actually, scratch that, because the Swedish side is running a duo up top, not at the bottom. So they've switched it up. They're trying to find their own turret in the top lane and just try to sustain the bottom lane as much as they can. So they've sent Shelby in the bottom and said, hey, just keep the turret as long as you can, and we're going to try to get the turret before them.
Shelby actually drifts off of the bottom lane, trying to group up with their team, and this Valheim may be in trouble. Luford needs to run fast.
So Shelby comes in for a gank, but it seemed like a little bit of a wasted time there from the Swedish side as they're gonna go in now. But the French side are gonna come in. The stun's not gonna hit. The endurance gonna come through. Will the last auto tank happen? Yes, it will. Lufin with the Valheim is gonna be able to pick it up. Shelby's underrun in his own jungle, has to get away from this initiation as the French side are quite possibly looking here for the Abyssal or middle turret.
Oh, poor Dope Lobo. He got pressured so far inside his own jungle that not only is this important as just an initial fight, but you can also see the jungles just being cleared out, the pressure being applied now by France is not just finding damage, it's also denying gold, denying experience, and they may be able to get Shelby here.
Yeah, Shelby's gonna get ganked. The Malak ultimate's gonna come through the knock-up, and there's damage. Will it be there? Yes, it will. Flow is gonna clean this one up, and French side with another well-executed gank. We've seen so many times top laners, if they get the lead that they can get early game, then they can snowball so hard in this mid to late, and we're gonna have to keep an eye on Flow, that he does not come the unstoppable monster for the French side.
Yeah, the France side will be able to lock out that Spirit Sentinel. At this point, they're looking for one more kill, so they go for the Abyssal Dragon, and they will be able to tag down Lobo. Ogi isn't there in time to save him. And now, this looks like an Abyssal Dragon, at least an opportunity to get one to France.
Zutara playing on Azuka, interestingly enough, we spoke so many times about Azuka being strong, but never really giving you any examples or ideas why it is. And Zuka being able to chase it down, we can see over the wall jump, stuns up 2 people there, and it's gonna keep the enemy team away while they're taking objective. Zuka, with the pain on a stick as well as Panda Chariot, this was the ultimate, is so strong in trying to escape or catching up to people. And Wukong, who has that invisibility, was unable to ditch Zuka there in that situation.
Yeah, and actually I'd like you to take a peek into the top jungle here for Sweden, because they have a slight problem.
Yeah, Malak is going to counter jungle them, at least for now. And that's what we see a lot of top laners too as well. It's a necessary step to take because you're denying the enemy side, either top or their jungler, because you don't really know who's going to take that camp. So if you take it for yourself, you're denying that EXP as well gold from the enemy side.
And that's just been a consistent flavor of French victory here. They've consistently been able to find so much map control and deny their opponents so many opportunities to even just start building something, to even get on their feet in the first place. And you can see Dope Lobo's doing it as well now, cleaning out so many of their jungle camps.
Yeah, Dope Lobo's trying to find the farm. If you look at the difference between Zutara and him, or yeah, Zutara and him, because Zutara is in the jungle right now with Zuka. Usually we see Zuka up top, so there's a switch up of characters as well. And he has the level advantage. The bottom turret has gone down as we have Dope Lobo moving into the bottom lane. The Swedish side is going to try to find a gank onto French, but they're not going to find it just yet. The stun's going to miss from Alice as well. As for now, L'Oreal is going to have to deal with 2 people from the French side in the middle, as he's going to have Shelby going to come in.
Oh, I don't think Shelby quite had the positioning he was looking for. The theory was there's only one player there. He might be able to catch him from behind, push him into the turret with that Thane rush, but he came out and it was a party. There were far too many players, and well, this is just great positioning again by France. Great map control again by France, as they're able to deny not only that kill, but so much jungle. There's another Spirit Sentinel, and you can just look at that gold lead. It is insane.
Yeah, the French side are really they're really executing to perfection. They're making little to no mistakes. They're finding these pickoffs with great rotations. They're turning these into objectives, which in turn lead into those this gold lead that they have. And if you have that gold lead, you have more items than the enemy, which means fighting is going to get easier the more you gain gold over enemies.
Luthen, got a little bit sketchy for him. There are 4 players there mid lane. For the Swedes, as they just try and maybe catch somebody getting a little bit too over-aggressive near the tower. Flo, he's in a similar situation here, just trying to find somebody maybe falling back from this mid lane fight as the tower's about to go down.
The middle entrance is going to fall lower and lower. The 3D side have to decide if they want to ditch it or try to defend it. Flo really far in the enemy side. He's going to get picked off. That is an easy kill for the Swedish side. Has the backup coming his way, but he was way, way, way too far behind enemy lines. As Kingster is going to be able to stun away Luthen, who was giving chase to him. So he's able to escape for now on that Alice and return to base.
The problem is, even though they get that kill, they've lost the Abyssal Dragon in the meantime, and all the more crucially, they've now completely started losing jungle control. That bottom turret falling has forced them to play with maybe a third of the map, and you can see that's costing them so many turrets, and it's costing them so much map control. Spirit Sentinels, Might Golems, you name it, it's all going towards France, and that's only compounding the gold lead.
Yeah, the French side have taken the last tier 1 turret, and that means they can basically dominate the enemy jungle. The Swedish side have to be so careful because the gold lead is gonna start growing really fast for the French side. But there's not much Swedish side can do about it because they don't know where the enemies are. They might get caught off in any of these bushes that are in the jungle.
Lobo speaking, getting caught out. He has to fall back. There's the Alice shield for the entirety of the team, and that'll keep them alive as they go for this team fight.
Malak's gonna ult in, finds a double ult, has to run. Oga is gonna be the next target for Sutaro as he's picked up 2, and now the rest of Sweden is gonna fall. 4 people have been taken out. Shelby is on the run. Will he be able to get away? The knock-up comes through, but there's a little too many French players there. He's gonna fall, and that's a clean ace for the Swedish side, and a triple kill for Sutaro.
Yeah, and now France, they just have so much to work with. You have the entirety of the minion wave behind you. You have nobody on the board to defend. It looks like this tier 2 turret will be going down, and it may be that we have a main push coming up shortly.
The high ground turret falling is really good for France. They are gonna get those stronger minions charging down the middle lane. They're gonna have more health, they're gonna be harder to kill, and they're gonna do a lot more damage to the base if they reach it. So the Swedish side are gonna have their hands full. We're trying to defend their base, and this opens up the map once again. We see Spirit Sentinel as well as Abyssal Dragon being taken simultaneously this time from the French side.
If you're Sweden right now, what they need to do is group up, use the teamwork and numbers to overwhelm 1 or 2 people who are maybe caught out, maybe trying to clear the jungle. And if you can do that, maybe you have a path back into the game. But it has to be so precise and so lucky for them to be able to capitalize on a mistake that the French side hasn't been making.
Yeah, the 9,000 gold lead in favor of France is such a big one right now. The Swedish side really need to find a lifeline. If the French side take a couple of bad fights here, there's a lot of possibilities for shutdowns, taking those kills. So I think the French side, if they're going to continue with this, really playing safe, let's call it this, because they're not taking overall risks. They're taking Darkslayer right now. It's not a risky play because they control so much of the map, so they know it's a safe play.
Yeah, no, they're just, instead of pushing, trying to capitalize on all the towers they've taken down, they play it safe, you sit tight, you grab Darkslayer, you get that buff for your team, and now we can expect to see them try and close out the game. With the buff, they'll be looking for a ton of kills, and they may already have one onto Lobo.
Dope Lobo's going to run away with invisibility. Shelby's going to push back Flo as we have Sutaro is going to finish off Wukong. Sutaro is on a bloodbath. Valheim picks up the kill onto Alice. Oge is on the run, but not for long as Violet comes in. Moon is going to be able to pick this kill up as Shelby is going to fall as well. That's another ace for the French side as they're looking so strong in this game too.
Yeah, and that gives them so much to work with now. Nobody on the board to defend. That should be game. You can see the main going down as once again, French side wins. That will give them 3 points in the standings and continue to kind of grow their reputation, I think. We talked a lot about how they were one of the best teams in the league so far. We talked a lot about the results. This is their first solid results on the stage of the non-pro tournament. And, well, they looked great. They looked like they learned a lot from the first game and they grew and improved.
Yeah, the first game started out a little shaky for them. They fortunately got the cheesy strategy, pushing the top lane, Murat taking those turrets and the base in the end. It was looking shaky for them in the beginning, but that might be just the nerves coming into play at the start of this tournament.
Yeah.
So the further this tournament goes on, I would guess those nerves would start to be toned down, as they should do better and better from now on.
Is it rude of me to say they look adorable?
They look happy. They're glad to win this, because this gives them the points necessary to qualify for the DreamHack and the 100,000 that is on the line over there.
Yeah, it's not over for the Swedes though. We do still have that influencer match later tonight, and it is worth noting that they did have something to work with there. Game one, they looked really, really good. I think that was a bit of nerves getting to France, maybe a little bit over-aggressive, and the Swedes made it close. And that gives me hope that if they can capitalize on mistakes there, maybe they can grow as a team and continue in the league like that. We will be going, however, back to the desk, so hopefully, Renee, you have some more thoughts on that, and maybe you can give us a preview into the game coming up later today.
We will awarding the first 3 points of the new tournament, of the non-pro tournament for Arena of Valor, to France, taking it 2-0 in the first series. Guys, let's talk about that game once again. We saw first blood, again, Sweden taking it, but then it wasn't the jungler falling to it, it was them counter-jungling, taking every XP and gold they could find in the Swedish jungle, denying everything for them. How does it feel?
I don't know how it feels. I hope I don't have to feel that today. Now, but this was France. Viva la France. They just did everything right, in my opinion. They dominated the map. They won the lanes. I don't know. I don't even know what to say. They looked like the better team, in my opinion, in all way.
Yeah, that was so much. One times when they are 3-0 for France on the game 2. We saw, I don't know the nickname, he was a little greedy for kill one people, but he died the France, and they take 2 towers, so worth it. And I think France was very better, and they show his level, so that was so strong. So I'm happy for them. They win 2-0, and that's easy.
Actually, it was France taking the first play.
Yeah.
It looked like Sweden was about to take it, but they came in and then they backed off, and France came and made it happen. You were talking a little bit about this with objectives. They always had an objective. Even if someone was feeding behind the tier 2 tower or whatever, someone else were pushing towers, were doing something, and the Swedes were just pretty much grouped up around their base and did nothing in the end of that game.
Yeah, I'm sorry for missing the first block from France there. It was actually writing it down for Sweden, but it was France.
Yeah, I
but
thought
what I really
Sweden
liked, they always took an objective. They took the Abyssal Dragon once again. They took the towers. Mid-game, they were really able to build up on that lead, build up on the gold and XP they had. But what you said, before we headed into this game, they need to fight more. They need to want to win, to show the will to win. I love that they have been trying to pick fights. The only problem was, it was always France coming out on top.
Yeah. France only took the fights that they knew that they would win, and it was clear that Sweden was a step behind all the time, because even as we said, someone was diving the tower and they grouped up and killed him. Yeah, well, but 2 other lanes were pushed at the same time. They got a kill, and they got another tower even though. After that, because they just kept on pushing. They were on the right place, and Sweden always had to answer to their movement, in my opinion.
2 big team fights at the end that played out for France every time they came out on top. They got triple kill right after another big fight. Was there any chance left?
I didn't feel, no. I mean, the first, it's called an ace, right, when all 5 died. When that happened the first time, I think it was over, actually. I mean, you always have a chance. You can hope that you can go and pick 1 or 2 off and then go back. But no, it was not really a chance. From 8 minutes, I think this game was over.
Yeah. France played very well. They were everywhere on the jungle of the opponent, of his own jungle, taking tower, taking kill everywhere, and that's.
I mean, Tower picked up 5 of them, so it seems like they could really rely on them to make sure that he can carry the game and carry his team to a win. But on the other side, they shared. It was not just one man doing everything.
No.
They had a lot of nice initiates as well. I don't know the name of that hero, I'm sorry, but he jumped in and he made some really nice around the dragon down there. And he played like, made everyone in Sweden go back, and then they finished dragon, and then he came in again. So he was in control, for sure. Many of the French players were, maybe all of them.
France taking the first win of our competitive week, #1, and Spike got the teams for an interview.
That's right, I am with Jemik from Team France, congratulations, and Shelby from Team Sweden. Jemik, you're a big support player, you made some good picks. Tell me a little bit about going into that. The first game, it looked like you were actually a little bit behind. Sweden got some good early engagements. How did you feel in that first game?
Okay, we were not expecting them to do a good draft pick like this, so we were mentally a bit like, oh, they did good. We actually know they had good picks, and they countered us pretty well. They studied their opponents. And the early was a bit messy because, I don't know, just a fact to get used to it. But we knew the mid-game, late game, the more the game goes further, the better it will be for our team. Good rotations, good calls, would close the game, so yeah.
One of the things we heard on the analysis desk earlier was that you guys had played together before, is that right?
Yeah, true, we've played. Well, the team is pretty new still, like 3 weeks. But we have played together a lot in those 3 weeks to practice for this tournament, so I think it's good enough.
And what is it about the game that makes it easy to play together?
I don't know. It's just that it's a huge MOBA. It's gonna be a huge MOBA, and we all have experience in MOBAs before, so I don't know. We love team games. This is the game you want if you are a team player, I think. The strategic game. So, yeah, I don't know. It went well for us.
Shelby, it didn't go so well for you. You were very confident backstage with me earlier.
Yeah.
What's happened between now and then?
I don't know. They were the better team today, unfortunately. But till next week, we'll come back stronger. We'll practice some more, hopefully.
How does it feel?
To France.
How does it feel playing in a live environment like this?
Yeah, it was a bit nervous and shaky before we got in, but it released like in the second game. But I don't know.
Do you think you'll have an advantage next week coming back?
Yeah, I think we only played the game for 6 days.
Yeah.
So,
Well, it's a new game.
Yeah. So, but we have some experience from another game.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Well, gentlemen, fantastic. Good first game. Shake hands. Well done, France. 3 points secured. For those of you at home, remember, yes, the game is new. Yes, now is the time to get on board, and you should definitely compete in our competition online if you want to get your hands on an iPhone 8 or an iPhone X. The URL is on your screen right now. So you can enter, you can like, you can follow, and you can win, and keep up to date with everything that's happening here in the studio and in Arena of Valor. René, over to you.
3 weeks they've played together and taken 3 points right away in our competition. We will be back, of course, with more gameplay. We still got the game highlights of all the other non-pro teams that played throughout the week, and we got the highlight, the game between the network, the internet celebrities. But that will be right after the break, so don't go anywhere, and see you there. Thorns. Thorns taking away the first 3 points, winning that series 2-0. I got some new guests at my desk, so please let me introduce Lufin from the French team who play mid, and Kingstar, the supporter of the Swedish team. Should support them a bit.
Yeah, definitely. The game didn't actually go quite decently for us. It wasn't too horrible. I mean, we got smashed. There is no lies about it, but I mean, we did our best in the end.
You were still looking good while doing so, believe me. It was looking good.
All right.
Lufin, what about you? Met was an easy thing?
Actually, at first had a problem, with playing on the phone, but no, we were impressed because I saw that they analyzed our picks, and yeah, they took all our main picks, so I was impressed.
Taking away picks, part of the game.
Yeah.
That's how it works, but you guys took away the first 3 points. But you're not the only non-pro teams playing, even if you're the only one right now with us in the arena. We also had way more games going on, and the first one we'd like to show you is UK versus Spain, so enjoy the highlights.
Yeah, I mean, just going into this as a draft, it's interesting to see Insidio pulling out the Joker, because for many players, the Joker isn't yet considered viable. We don't yet know how he fits into the meta, but Spanish aggression and coordination, I think, is the overall story of the entire match.
Yeah, most of the series comes down to the Spain's really being such a good team and just coordinating everything that they do, as well as defending each other. So it's really great to see a team perform to such a huge level.
And this is a great example of that. You can see Judino took a lot of pressure here as the gank attempt came through, but they have a great little call. Happy holds off the two-man pressure, makes it kind of two separate 1v1s, and they pull in Bill Street. He comes in from the jungle, and they clean up the team fight 3v2.
Yeah, finding those kills like that, as well as taking Abyssal Dragon in any sort of games like this, it's going to propel you so far in the lead that it's really a catch-up game after this point for the other side.
And you can see Spain, they never let go. Immediately after this, they're deep within the enemy jungle. They're building that gold lead, which is at this point already at 2k ahead.
Yeah, they're really pressuring and taking it home. You need to establish control over the map if you have that lead. So you need to just kind of stay calm and just execute how you always execute, and just take the gold lead even further away.
And this was a very, very silly team fight for the UK team to take, if you ask me, because they were so far behind, not just in gold, but also in experience at this point. So if you take a fair team fight like this, and you're already that far behind, well, you're going to get the floor wiped with you.
Yeah, I think this is the point where Spanish guys really took the win already, as after that, the gold lead and the kill lead is so big already for the Spanish side that it's really difficult for the other team to come back unless the Spanish side makes a few mistakes and loses a lot of objectives.
And keep an eye on Happy throughout this entire highlight reel, because the man is a highlight reel. He was playing the Grak here, and his hooks throughout the entire game really decide their initiations. We saw that a bit earlier in the game, where the Swedes used it to pretty good effect, but here it's just eightfold that. He finds so much control and so much damage.
Yeah, Happy's hooks that game were deadly, absolutely on point. He consistently gets people in, they annihilate that one person that Grak pulls in, and then after that, you just have the numbers advantage, you just take the fight home after that.
Disrespectful and Insidio will do. At this point in the game, they have nothing to work with, so they're forced to just fall back. And you might expect, and many new players would, you immediately just follow through with that pressure, push all the way in. I love that Spain has the coordination not to take that risk. They play it smart, they don't give them a 3v3 or any other situation where theoretically the UK might be able to get back in.
Yeah, in a tournament like this, there's no point in taking risk. Take it slow, play it safe. Take the lead you have and then make it even bigger just slowly. You don't need to propel your gold lead from 6,000 to 10,000 in a minute. You can do that throughout 3 minutes and it's still gonna work.
And you can see exactly that, 27 to 36k by the time this game one is beginning to wrap up. And there's no other way to summarize the game than just a screenshot of that top bar. So Spain, throughout the game, had such good and aggressive control of the UK's jungle that they never really had an opportunity to build up any goal to themselves, and they never really got any of these kills either. So you can see just a final slaughter.
Yeah, at this point, they're so far ahead, they can do anything. They're diving the base at this point, not even caring that the enemies are there to defend it. And I think that just comes down to how well the Spanish control the map throughout most of their series. They're really good at taking those early objectives and then just scaling off of that and taking that map control.
We saw a bit of good coordination with the French team earlier, and I do think that is kind of relevant in this highlight as well. Both of these teams, the Spanish and the French, we've talked about them previously as being top teams we expect to see at DreamHack, and I think they share that common thread of really good coordination.
Yeah, Spanish side has definitely looked so deadly during the qualifiers, as well as the highlights here up against UK. We've not seen a lot of UK because of how the qualifiers went for them as well. There was only 5 teams qualifying in the UK, so we didn't see the game that they had. But right now, we've seen a few games from the Spanish side, and it's been so dominant, and from what we see right now, they're continuing to dominance.
Yeah, I mean, just look at this aggression. You're only a few minutes into the game, and they're already so far into the enemy's side of the map.
Yeah, they're definitely not afraid to dive. That's definitely the Spanish side is not afraid to take these aggressive pushes, if necessary, or the aggressive fights. And to propel their gold lead further like that.
Because this gold lead gives them the opportunity to do more and just continue expanding with an Abyssal Dragon that can't even be contested because of how far forward the Spanish side is. I'd love this game also to kind of take a moment and point out Shitkin, who's playing Crashed. And this is one of the tankiest characters in the game, particularly with the Metamorphosis ultimate active.
Yeah, Chikitin using that Crashed. We see a great Metamorphosis onto 4 people here. That character is so impactful if you manage to land those big ultimates. And if you get those 4-man ultimates, at that point, it's just your carries need to deal damage. You don't even need to be worried about your position because the enemies are standing still because they're stunned. They cannot try to initiate onto you after the Metamorphosis has come out.
And they have a set tactic. Every time they need to tower dive, Chicken pops the Metamorphosis and he pushes in. And because he's in that extra tanky mode, he's able to find so much damage, but more importantly, soak up the turret damage and soak up the initial damage from the defending team, in this case the UK. And the rest of the team just follows behind, takes a fight under turret with no worries in the world.
Well, they have to disrupt as well, so Chikitin doesn't even need to tank in the beginning. They initiate under the turret as a 5-man squad to disrupt the turret. The turret is not going to deal any damage at that point. So after that, it just comes down to just standard fighting. And if you have a gold lead as much as Spain's do, then it's really difficult for the other side to actually pick up and get back into the game.
You see it again, Shitkin deep into the enemy's backlines. And once again, look at the gold, because it's been a relatively short game and you're already at 25 to 18k.
Yeah, the gold speaks a story, and so does the scoreline. 9-1. UK, not at any point in this game, have threatened the Spanish side, because you look at these kills, usually games are pretty equal here. And this fight as well, it's going to propel them even further ahead and give them the chance to possibly even push the base here.
Yeah, and they'll be really smart about it too. We also saw this from the French team earlier today. Instead of going all the way in when they have the advantage, they fall back, you get the dark buff, and then you push forward together with that buff to aid you.
Yeah, Darkslayer buff, one of those things that if you get that, it's really great. As it does help with the damage, and if you need to dive after that, it's definitely something that you can use because of the damage as well as the regen that comes through after that. So after a fight, you can recover pretty quickly with that buff.
Yeah, Shitkin decides he's taking a little bit too much focus and falls back, but the rest of his team is there, and that's the coordination I'm talking about. They always have a rotation set up as to who's going to take the tower damage, and they always are able to find such effective cleanups of any of these fights that get messy.
Yeah, such a strong job by the Spanish side. They're really strong. And it's going to be interesting to see once we see Spanish team in the offline as well. So it's going to be definitely interesting to see how they cope with the LAN environment, because right now they're in the online environment, and that is definitely not as stressful as the LAN.
Yeah, well, we'll get to see them on LAN soon enough, and I'm sure Renee's looking forward to that just as much as we are.
Yeah.
unlike Nelson, the UK wasn't able to stop the Spanish Armada this time. Guys, you both need to face them later in the tournament. They were looking pretty strong.
Yeah, definitely. I think the Spanish team was looking at strongest. It reminded me a bit of the game that we had actually today, that we were actually the UK team a bit in this position. We didn't manage to catch any Drake, and at least what I saw, it didn't look like the UK managed to do that either. It looked quite one-sided during the game. So yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm looking forward to play them.
Unlike the Spanish Armada, you also face the UK team. Does that now mean, like, after seeing that game, do you think the UK team might be an easy target?
I think that the main issue was communication problems. So since we play a lot against that kind of errors, yeah, I think it will be, easier than Spanish team to manage. Yeah.
Luthen, let's be honest here. What do you fear more? The hooks of Happy or the question I throw at you?
Sorry, I don't understand.
That's even better. All right. Well, I know, we saw Happy doing a lot of hooks throughout the game. He was actually making all the fights happen.
Yeah.
Is that something that you guys now look at, checking the replays, checking the VODs, and try to avoid in your games?
Yeah, actually we do. We check every time the most. We are taking the most of information that we can before practicing, and yeah, if we want to scream against this team, of course we are using those informations in consideration.
We're definitely going to use the same information when we're going to practice up against the upcoming games. Since we're quite new formed team, we didn't even have that much time to practice. So we're going to definitely use everything we can just to prepare for the upcoming games. So this is just the beginning.
Everyone looking forward if the Spanish Armada can keep it up like that, or maybe one of the teams we saw today here, like France, taking all the next wins that are up. But we've had some more games throughout the week. It was Germany facing Italy, and of course we got the highlights for you.
Yeah, Germany-Italy was a really interesting match as well, and we're going to get into it. I promise it's a bit closer. The Italian team, I think, throughout this match also show kind of the weaknesses that you can have when you maybe have a little bit lackluster team play, because though this is close, they take a couple silly risks.
Yeah, Italy in some points of these games take some weird points here, but not this one actually. And we see Italy being aggressive, which they like to do, but they can also split up the enemy team. So the communication that's coming through from Italy, I would say, would be really good. So that's really great to see.
So if you didn't catch that, as they're going to be able to convert this into an Abyssal Dragon, you had a two-man push there, I believe, from Sabo and his buddy. They go up and they are going to get punished. The Germans are already rotating people in to aid in that team fight, but Davian takes a 1v2 intentionally to shut down that rotate, shut down the reinforcements, and they're able to clean up the Abyssal Dragon and get an early lead as a result.
Yeah, splitting up the enemy team like that comes down to great communication as well as teamwork from the team. You have to have absolute faith in your team in order to pull something like that, because if something goes wrong, you might get picked off there, and now that's a loss of kill, and in an early game, loss of kill means more money for the enemies, and they can have a snowball effect off the back of that.
Yeah, we did see an immediate trade though. The Germans find damage in the top lane, and now they go aggressive in the bottom lane. Bobbycard leading the charge on the Crashed Ultimate. We talked about that last game for how effective it can be, locking up so much focus fire, and here it's no different.
Yeah, Crashed is having a lot of impact on a lot of games. The Metamorphosis, we touched on it last game, but we can't stress it enough. That ultimate is deadly. It's absolutely deadly. If you stun those enemies, as well as turn yourself into a scary tank that can soak up a lot of damage, it is so scary to face up against a Crash that is ulted, as well as if they're in the lead, so that is going to be even more scary.
You can see a push here. Unknown tries to kind of open up the action, gets greedy for a pick, and it backfires hard. However, you can see more effort come through from the Italians. They keep bringing in reinforcements, and that wins them the team fight.
Yeah, Germany is looking out of their element right now, I would say, because we know the Germans to be really composed, patient, execute with their team, be stuck together, quick rotations, that kind of stuff. Yeah, and we're not seeing it right now in the games that they played. So at least in the beginning here, the Germany was kind of struggling.
Yeah. You see the Italian Sabo, he's going to be able to grab, yes, another Abyssal Dragon for his side. And the reason they're able to get that completely uncontested is because of the kills they got earlier. And a great conversion of those kills into an Abyssal Dragon is a skill that many teams have been practicing and using to great effect.
That's exactly what they need to have, though, because if you take a kill, turn it into objective, you're taking such a big gold lead already. And it's really easy off the back of that to just snowball and getting bigger and bigger in terms of money, so you get more items, you start to do even more damage, and at that point it's really hard for the enemies to stop the snowball from happening.
But it's worth noting Germany's doing an excellent job of that, because they are keeping the gold lead relatively even with a couple really good kills and shutdowns, and as well as that, they're being able to get a really efficient jungle.
Yeah, Germany usually doesn't lose the gold lead, even if they're doing not so good in the games that they play. They still kind of just stake it out and they farm, and they're really efficient at farming. And we have, once again, we see a quick rotation coming through from Germany with the aggression, and Italy this time wasn't as composed as the early game.
No, we talked about maybe a lack of communication. You could see their Davian, I believe it was, opened up the fight with a very deep dive. He got challenged, and Innocent Boy, instead of backing off with him, went more aggressive, and that cost the team the fight, and this gives Germany kind of a window back into the game, and they start pushing forward, finding more picks now that they've brought that gold lead in their favor for the first time, and they're beginning to lead in kills as well.
Yeah, at this point, Germany's kind of an unstoppable force. It's really difficult for Italy to stop what's happening because of the composition that Germany has, as well as what's happening across the map, right? Top's being pressured, you're in the middle, but you can't really rotate out top because you're going to lose more turrets off the back of this. So you don't want to lose those objectives, but at the same time, the map is being split up by the Germany side. So Germany's really good at initiating those or executing those split pushes.
And you can see, once again, instead of getting a little bit too greedy, they instantly are coordinated, sweep up to that top lane, grab unnamed, who must be a little bit tired of getting absolutely annihilated on the Batman. And off that, they get another tower, and the Germans just continue to very slowly and mechanically, very precisely, if you will, clean up the game.
Yeah, it's definitely precision coming through from the Germans, and it's great to see teams executing this amount of perfection here. Just having the time to perfect how they want to gank, how they want to rotate, as well as how quick the rotations are, because Germans are really quick at rotating their heroes around the map, basically.
And from this point, they've got the dark buff, and they're just beginning to push down as a unit, as a team, and find the picks necessary to close out the game.
Yeah, they find a couple of great picks because Italy at this point, there's nothing for them to do. They try to step out of the base, they try to find the farm, but it's a little too late. This German steamroll has already started, and it's really difficult to stop that.
Yeah, no, it's German engineering. They got run over by a VW Beetle, and it started rolling, and
there was no stopping it.
Yeah, no, it was very, very, very efficient. So we do have that closeout, and the Germans do take that, and I believe off the back of that, we can see more from Italy, because they were winning the early game. I think that's not even controversial to say.
Yeah, there's definitely something there, and if Italy can find what they did early game that they lost mid to late game, I think that's going to help them a lot in the long run and help them execute better in the upcoming weeks.
Yeah, and we've talked through a lot of it. We've said that the Italians, or the Germans rather, are right up there with the Spanish and the French teams. Those are kind of the trinity of teams we expect to be really competitive and probably at DreamHack. And then Italy, maybe a little bit behind them. You follow up with the UK. And they, I think we can say this confidently, all have room to improve, but they've all been doing exactly that, just over the Community Cups that we've seen, over the qualifiers as well. They've grown so much.
Yeah, these guys have gotten better and better, more we've seen them, and it's really great to see this sort of progression coming through from these teams, as well as the strategies kind of changing, these teams getting aggressive in the enemy jungle, not being really scared to take those risky plays. So I think that's great something to see in the upcoming weeks as well. So I think the teams are definitely going to get more aggressive and more confident progressing further in the tournament.
You can see Unnamed there did exactly kind of, or sorry, not Unnamed. But the Batman over on the Italian side did exactly what we were kind of talking about, where there was a little bit of pressure onto his team. They'd gone down a kill. So instead of trying to respond directly, instead of trying to force back the lane, White pushes through the jungle, comes out behind the turret fight, and manages to catch a player retreating at half HP. And of course, that's a jungler's dream.
Yeah, that's exactly what you want to find. Batman has a little bit of an easier time at this as well, because the Dark Knight ultimate gives you invisibility. And that's going to help you roam around the jungle a lot easier. And I think at this point, it really was ahead up until this point, but this is really impactful for the side of Germany. They get the Abyssal Dragon, they lose a lot of members, so it's not perfect for them, but at least they kind of keep the gold lead that Italy has at the same place, instead of just giving up Abyssal Dragon.
Yeah, and we talked about maybe confused decision-making, questionable decision-making at the very beginning. That's an example of it. The Italians didn't have the lead necessary to 100% secure that Dark Slayer. And
Abyssal Dragon.
Abyssal Dragon, you're completely right. And because they didn't first guarantee the lead, because they didn't first guarantee the opportunity to lock out the Abyssal Dragon, it got really, really, really dangerous really quickly. And indeed, they lost it.
Yeah, the Germans did sneak this one away, as the story of the game too was basically Lubu having a really difficult time on top.
Yeah.
But the German side, we saw last game, the mid to late game, the composure coming through from the German side. It was there, and they turned it around. And I think if the Germans do execute as they have in the game one, there could be more comebacks happening from their side if they do happen to lose these early games.
Yeah, the Italians look really good here again in the early game, but again the Germans have an uncanny talent almost for staying in the game. Here they go, initiating again onto this Abyssal Dragon.
Yeah, they need to find these objectives. Now this time around, they wisely back off. There's no need to lose more than is absolutely necessary, because if you lose that Abyssal Dragon and a couple of kills on top of that, then you're putting yourself in a position where the enemy team has a chance to run away with the game.
So instead, they back off, they play it safe, and then they return for the team fight, but they're confident they have the cooldowns to at least give it a run, and they do more than that. The Germans, this is a very pivotal point for them, because they are able to win that team fight. No, they don't get the Abyssal Dragon, but they get so much progress instead of it.
Yeah, this was really the best place in the game right now for Germany to make some sort of comeback into here. And we see Darkslime being picked up by Italy, but Germany did show in the last fight they're actually capable of taking it if necessary. As we're going to see aggression coming through from Italy, but they dove a little bit too far, which is a mistake, because Germans are in their base. They can retreat back and they can take these fights 1 versus 2. They can consistently outnumber the enemy team. And if they keep doing it in the upcoming games, upcoming weeks, then I think Germans are going to do really well in this tournament.
Yeah, we've seen so many times a situation like that where the team dives into the base, they don't even care about the towers, they lock it out and win the game. That wasn't one of those situations. The Italians are not stomping. Right now, yes, they have a lead, but it is a narrow one. You can see, even though they have a massive gold lead, they have a relatively minor kill lead. And this means that the experience is still close, and it's still a very, very tense game. And Afi and his teammate here are just too low to really stay alive.
Yeah, they stuck around a little too much, and this is what I would like to see Italy fixing in the upcoming weeks, is they can't really have those situations where their teammates stay way too long in the enemy base, try to do some sort of push 2v3, 2v4, when you've just lost the fight. You need to retreat, you need to cut the losses, and then you really need to stay safe so that you don't lose more than what's necessary.
Unnamed here gets just pulled, I think, kited by low HP members. He'd feel so close to getting a pivotal kill, and that greed for the pivotal kill ends up, I think, costing his team greatly, because now with a player down, you can see the push begins to come through for the Germans, and they begin to take out this tower and threaten the main.
Right now, the Germans are doing so well, right? If you look at the money difference, you would say, oh my god, Italy's so far in the lead. But German execution in this game, playing as a team, just absolutely taking this fight in a perfect opportunity. Yeah. They got the kills lead, and in the end, they finished off the game.
Yeah, I mean, once again, it was like a German car, right? It took a moment to start, maybe it was a bit rusty, and they get the key in the ignition, they turn it, and all of a sudden that little VW is rolling down the street. I know,
Yeah.
I know René's a car guy though, so maybe he has some more thoughts on German engineering.
As a German, I cannot support what you said about German cars. They don't take long to start. We don't want to talk about cars at all. It was a 2-0 for Germany versus Italy. I better get one of those Arena of Valor jackets with a German flag on to support my country. Well, guys, there was not such a storm as we saw in Spain versus UK. Both teams were far more even. Still, it was a 2-0. That's all right, but both teams seem like a good threat, right?
Definitely. I think it looked quite more even, at least. Both sides had like some ups and downs, but in the end it looked like Germany was just a stronger team.
Yeah, actually, I think there was just a problem about the fact that they was not able to manage and to finish the game. Maybe they were, I don't know, maybe pressure or something, because they were scared about the first game that they lost, maybe. So maybe with the pressure they lose confidence, and once they have greed, maybe they were not able to group and finish again. So, well, it happens. It's emotional, you know.
Are the biggest difference between teams right now in the competitive environment of Arena of Valor down to which team is strong at early game and which team is strong at late game? Because we saw Germany being more or less trailing throughout the early game, mid game, and then finally coming back, and I thought it looked like Italy could have this. Is that the biggest difference between teams?
I don't have a real opinion on this matter. I think that actually Germany tried to play very aggressive early, but the problem is that they managed to snowball at the early game. I mean the enemy team of the German team, because the Batman was in a good position, in a good timing, and it helps them to get the first Drake. And at this point, they was able to snowball.
Definitely, like what I think, like the early game plays a big role when it comes to just catching up with the goal, building up your team, being tanky. You can deal with the team fights. You can easily enter mid game before the other team even has entered, like way before, because just you getting defeated. So yeah, I think like the early game matters a lot, it impacts a lot, but in the end it all comes down to the late game. And as we saw, Germany were just a stronger team.
Yeah, Germany was the stronger team. They took 3 points in the match versus Italy, as well as Spain took 3 points versus the UK. And I'm pretty sure we got exciting matches coming up throughout the next weeks in Arena of Valor, your favorite 5v5 MOBA game on a mobile device you can finally play competitive anywhere in the world, everywhere, whatever you are doing. We're back shortly with even more Arena of Valor content for you. We will give you a hats up for the match between the internet celebrities between Sweden and France. Again, 3 points already for France. They could pick up another 3 in the next match in just some minutes. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Arena of Valor Non-Pro Tournament 2017 here at the Analyst Desk in our small arena for the game. I still got my guests over here. Lufin, the captain of the French team, just taking 3 points in the first match, and Kingster, support of the Swedish team. Guys, I hope you enjoyed that experience, even unfortunately your team lost. How was it? Talk me through how it felt to do the first match over here in the new competition.
It was definitely awesome. I mean, when we came here, we were a bit tired when we started to line up and get into the arena. We were waking up and, you know, the adrenaline started to come a bit. So it was a sick experience.
Well, actually, we really appreciate it. Also, a little bit some pressure, but it's okay. We managed it, and we were really serious until the end.
So you think like being nervous wasn't really part of your game? You just enjoyed playing, tried your best to win?
Yeah, of course, just as usual.
Yeah, we weren't, as we were talking, we weren't that really nervous. I don't know, maybe the other guys just had like, you know, acting with hard attitude, not sure. But still, like, I think in general, we had quite relaxed communication. We weren't that stressed, right? So, like, we weren't nervous at all, in my opinion. We were just having a good time, honestly.
The non-pro teams not being nervous. Next up will be the internet celebrity teams. And we should learn a bit more about that and a bit more about 2 specific players of the Swedish team, Loda and Aki.
This is a hard one. Age of Empires. His biggest achievement is winning TR3, for sure. His favorite food is Chinese food. His preferred champion is Crest. I can say esports, I guess. Football. His favorite place is Singapore. I think he would answer maybe one of the weird venues in China that wasn't very well built. I'm gonna guess Avicii.
I don't know, like Bubble maybe?
How am I supposed to know this?
No, but it is Bubble, I think. It is, that's the only game I remember. My biggest achievement as a gamer, I won TI. Yeah.
That was easy.
Yeah, it's like, Favorite food? You know, I grew up in Congo, and for a few years, and they have a local cuisine that is my favorite, so that's my favorite food. Well, what's the answer?
Chinese.
That's actually that is a good. My preferred champion in AOV, I would say Crest.
Yes.
Yeah. I think my favorite sport is floorball. So you kind of have to Google it to understand, but it's like ice hockey on a normal floor with a ball that is round.
I said football, but I meant soccer. But
yeah, I could have said that for sure. Well, it feels like there's only 2 answers, right? Sweden. Singapore. Yeah. What? Yeah. I mean, we've been to a lot of weird tournaments, right?
Oh, I want to change my answer now.
Really? Oh. But I didn't even come up with any idea.
No.
I thought, no, I think some China.
I said China. You know, I'm so bad at these kind of questions.
I know.
So I just took something that came up on my mind.
But it's Avicii. Yeah. Okay, nice.
Loda struggling with his favorite musician, but not struggling in winning the TI. Do you think that will help the Swedish team? I mean, they've got experienced players on their internet celebrity teams. So is it hard for France to get another 3 points in this?
It will be hard to in root for what I'm saying, but I think that they will not win this.
Oh, that was bold saying already. You might lose your citizenship for that. All right.
Well, yeah, I think definitely the Swedish teams has a great chance because we were playing them a bit before, and we just heard how Ake and Loda were talking and their ideas and mindset of gaming, playing, and how to play just MOBAs itself. Like, you know these guys know what they're talking about. So yeah, definitely guys to watch out for.
We will see if experience helps them to win the next match. They want to win some points, and you gonna win an iPhone, maybe, if you take part in our giveaway. We will give away 3 iPhone 8 and 1 iPhone 8X. If you just follow the links, subscribe, follow, do everything that's necessary to get your new phone, then hop on the App Store, the Google Store, whatever, get your game, download Arena of Valor, practice it a bit, and you might end up with me here, having weird questions and making jokes about you. So we all know that. 5-on-5 MOBAs. What's better than playing with your team and with your friends?
Sorry?
Sorry, I don't have friends to play with. So what's wrong?
I didn't really follow the question. What am I supposed to say here?
Does not matter. I just ask if there's anything better than playing in a team, because I have to say, I don't play that many solo games anymore. Like, I really enjoy just sitting down, talking with friends on voice, playing with them together.
Definitely, I can fully agree with you. I'd rather play actually more with my friends and people that I know, because first of all, I can decide whether we just want to play chilled or if we want to actually go for like the full blood-out serious gaming. And you can always decide, but when you go actually alone and play solo games, you always get inflamed first of all. So yeah, I think that it's a better environment to stick with your friends.
Getting flamed. Wow.
And yeah, for me, I prefer also as a team, because I always have loved, the way how teams are playing with synchronization and everything is organized, and yeah, it just show, good fights, and you live it more than any other fight in solo queue. I don't take so much pleasure in solo queue anyway, so.
When you all play with your friends in this tournament, it makes that answer a bit easier. Normally, I would now go for predictions, but we heard already. Lufin was like, yeah, France will take this. And Kingston was just not even objecting that. Well, what could Sweden, not the other way around, what could France come up with to actually win this? I actually turned this around, so I'm sorry.
I think that the only way that I can maybe really win because of their lack of experience, I think that will be maybe some exotic picks that maybe the enemy team do not know them, and I hope that they will do the right decision at the right time.
I think maybe what could bring France to victory is that they actually played the game even more than the Swedes, so they're more familiar with playing on cell phones, since both the Swedish players is more, with the PC gaming, and maybe the French people has the advantage with the more game time actually on the phone, so yeah, could be.
Will the French grinding overcome the Swedish experience in our next matchup? But before we go down the way into the arena, we sat down with the French team to talk about the competition.
The trip to Poland was a bit complicated for me because I slept 3 hours in the last 48 hours. But it's cool to be here. I was in Warsaw like 3 months ago. And this is a good country, like people are very nice and kind, so I'm glad to be here again. I hope this will be a good city. It's my first time in Katowice, yes, so yeah, it will be cool. I come for a fight in Arena of Valor with my 4 teammates. I don't know which role I will play exactly because we are discussing about it, but yeah, we'll do the PvP versus the Sweden team. But the thing is, this will be pretty much hard because Sweden team is like composed by 3 pro players. So this will be really difficult for us, I think. So we will do our best, but maybe they will punch us very hard. I used to play like many MOBAs and mobile games, so I'm not very afraid about it. Control is pretty easy, and the game is really easy to learn. So yeah, I think it will be cool, and I'm not confident for the tournament, but for the game in general, I think it will be cool.
Confident with the game, not confident with the competition. But hey, they did not sort their roles yet. Hopefully they do before they head into the game. And we will hear what the Swedish team has to say about the upcoming match.
I started playing Arena Valor because one of my friends from China told me about the game. It was called something else in China, and he explained to me that it was gonna come to Europe. One of my friends at ESL told me about the game. I started playing it with my girlfriend actually, and that's how it started off. I was picked as the captain for the team. I think it's my honor on the line if we lose. And I suppose I was picked because I have a lot of years of experience when it comes to playing games. I've been leading a lot of different teams, and I think that I should be able to keep these guys together. I think it's great that I have the chance to represent my own country. I mean, I've had the chance to do that in other games this year. I've got the chance to play Arena Valor. I also had the chance to play some poker, so I'm always just super happy to represent Sweden. There's no real pressure when it comes to us getting extra points from being the special team. I mean, we're confident. I know that Aki is good. The rest of the guys, I know them. I think we're gonna be able to handle it for sure. Sweden is gonna win today for sure. I mean, the talent team, if we lose, I can't go home like that. We can lose one game, have some fun, and then I'll pick my good champions for last.
Loda taking all the responsibility for the performance of his team. Is that already, of course, they want to score some more points, but they don't know yet if that works against the French team. Obviously, Sweden seems to be a bit of favorite with all the experience they bring in, but the French guys, they will not give up. They will fight for all the points. But enough of my talking. It's time to get all the teams on the stage.
Introducing the blue team, represented by Sweden. Playing as carry, Loda. Playing as mid lane, Aki. In support, Dreyesh. In the jungle, it's Forsen. And as tank, it's Orb. Introducing the red team, represented by France. As carry, it's Zerator. As support, Master Snakehu. In the mid lane, it's Gotaga. In the jungle, Kenny. And in the top lane, it's Moman.
The Swedish team might have more experience when it comes to competition and playing on the stage, but I give France the point for performance and walk-ins. That looked great. Everyone had their move out there.
Yeah, now I can just encourage them to win.
Hey, Lufin, what about your team? Well, we didn't saw that from everyone in France.
Well, I think we was a little bit more shy than them.
Feeling comfortable with everything? You think that team will make it?
Depends. Do you think if the French team's gonna win?
Really? Just because they had that walk-in performance?
They won the walk-in performance, definitely. I'm gonna give the hands up for them, but the Swedes is way more focused. You can see how they're just focusing and trying to just, I don't give their best, I guess.
Unfortunately, no extra points for walk-in performance, even if I appreciate that and hope that other teams will pick it up for the next weeks of the competition. Do you think we see some, let's say, picks that are not usually played at the non-pro side of this tournament?
I think so, yeah, definitely.
What to expect there? Like, what could they pick that normally a non-pro team doesn't pick?
I will bet more on characters like Dayo-chan, Krixi, maybe. Maybe a lot of Grak. Yeah, Grak, I am sure that he will come at this level.
Is there a huge difference when it comes to practice for those teams? I mean, you guys obviously concentrating on this tournament. That's why you got all the strategies laid out. Do you think for them it's a bit more like being thrown into the cold water, trying to survive?
Well, honestly, I think the Swedish team is going to do fine. I have not heard that much about the French people, so yeah, I don't know. Maybe you're right. So yeah, I'm going to go for that. They just thrown into this.
Any tactics, Lufin, you could steal from them?
I don't know. Actually,
we didn't tell them yet, right?
We gave them some tactics, so I hope that they will use it.
I mean, if they act like more casual, not with laid out tactics, we might see some stuff that could be picked up. Because let's be honest, Arena of Valor is a fresh game over here in Europe. There's so many strategies, picks, no one yet tried. We heard about from the casters that they're, let's say, 20 heroes that normally get picked in a competitive environment. That doesn't necessarily mean that there are no other picks available, right?
Definitely, like, new metas can always be created.
Is it Joker, Batman? I mean, Batman seems like a regular pick for the jungler. Who's next?
I think Zephys will also be very dangerous, and Murad, because Murad has a lot of it's still a character which has a learning curve. So even it's, for me, a really powerful character, I think it's sure that, I'm not sure that they will be used because there's a learning curve before it, and Zephys, I think, will be more suitable for beginners.
As these points are extra for you guys, like the celebrity teams will only play in the arena, you might go home with 6 points on the side of France, or you might go home 3-3, which would look a lot better than just losing at the first day. How much emphasis you put on that? Like, is it really that you're as excited for the match as you were for your match?
Definitely. Like, I think like we were hoping for winning our game, and we're gonna go home with the full everything in our bag, so to say. But I mean, I'm just hoping so badly that Swedes team's gonna win. So we want to walk home with the same points.
I have the belief for the French team, but I honestly think that the Sweden team will win, honestly.
So we know that they have more experience, but also they might be just surprised with what France coming up. We've talked about that. Like, all the experience doesn't help if you actually lose because you were nowhere near expecting what they're throwing at you. I mean, we could see weird combinations of heroes, weird stacking of heroes, who knows? Both of you just looking at me.
Yeah.
So I enjoy that. Don't get me wrong. I enjoy when you're looking at me, but I also enjoy when you're talking to me.
Definitely. Like, but I didn't really get the question here.
Same for me. Sorry.
It's always about having fun on the desk. We see the players are getting ready. Look at that. They got the beautiful couches while we need to stand all day long.
Exactly.
Wow, that small advertisement over there. French. Look, I'm French. Look,
French qualified.
Yeah, I'm French. Look there. We know which team you're supporting. Don't worry. We got all that covered. But it seems like they enjoy the time much more. But I'm not sure on the French side if that sunglasses will really help.
It's the French way of thinking.
What has it to do with French way of thinking? You think like, be cool, even if it's dark?
I mean, it's more like in what I've seen, of course, they are more like open, and we are just say, okay, we're gonna play it for fun, and whatever happens, it's okay. So, well, that's why I still encourage them to win.
No sunglasses on your side, no sunglasses on any of the Swedish players.
Yeah.
But the beard.
The beard's so definitely there. It's always there.
It is, I mean, basically, it's Drake's moment when it comes to the beard play. And we know in esports there were a lot of discussions about beards. Do you think they help? Sometimes I think, especially on a mobile game, it could be somewhere, you know, obstructing your view of the path and everything.
Since obviously, and yeah, I don't know why there's sunglasses since there's no sun in Poland. So sorry.
Wow, no, I can tell you there is sun in Poland. I saw it throughout the summer when I was here casting.
Once every month.
So I'm pretty sure they have sun. It's still Europe, Luthen. You're not that far away from France.
I don't know, not seen yet.
We're still with all of that. Well, guys, let's go back once again to just the game. Arena of Valor being a fresh game on the market, being fresh to competitive scene. Do you think, with the shows we're doing here, with all the gameplays you guys showing to the people out there, do you expect more competition soon from new teams coming up?
Oh yeah, sure, definitely. Yeah, because the game is still growing and the community is coming, and every day I see new, for example, French players or even from other countries. So yeah, definitely.
Well, we're here, so basically we should be a role model for newer teams to come into the game. I mean, we just started to play, and we learned so much in such a short time, and we're standing here, right?
That's true. We heard about new and fresh teams, but I will send it over to our fresh favorite casters, TJ and Envision.
Thank you very much, Renee. I'm his favorite caster. I'm pretty excited about that.
Everybody's excited here.
Yeah, actually, I mean, we saw that enthusiasm there from the French side. I don't think I've ever seen somebody wear sunglasses at an esports event. Like, actually on their...
Well, there's a lot of lighting in the arena.
Actually, yes. That's the strategy. Many people think this is a style choice, it might undermine his gameplay. There are a ton of spotlights, a ton of fancy floodlights. You go out onto a stage like that, you're expected to sit on the couch and look maybe down at the reflective floor, and you just decide to go ahead and outplay the stage, not just the enemy team, but also the stage, and you do that by wearing a nice pair of sunglasses.
Not even that, but the phone's brightness could be turned up to the maximum. If you have no idea how to turn that down, your eyes might start to hurt, so that is also something to consider.
I hadn't considered that possibility, but now I am, but I'm a little bit worried. And also maybe the beard works that way as well, because you have to look through, it's like a filter. Right? So you have to look down through the beard and you put the phone under it. So if there's really a lot of glare coming up from the stage, we're seeing that adaptability from both these teams here. And you really only see that kind of adaptability from top teams.
Yeah, top-notch strategies being used here for this influencer match. We can see already that they're so much more prepared than our non-pro teams were earlier today.
I mean, there is the element of experience over on the Swedish side. They have so many ex-pro players, so many experienced players in a variety. Oh, but the shoes are coming off. Hold up. The French team, they're getting comfy. They're not planning on leaving that couch. They're going the full BO3.
Yeah, it does look so comfortable up in the couch. They can just chill and relax while we're here talking about filters and the lights that are hitting them straight to the face.
I've never sat on that couch, but I kind of want to. Like, the longer we look at it and how comfortable they're getting on it. Do you think we can get one up here?
I have no idea.
I bet we could. Well, we are getting into the pick van phase. Both the teams are in the lobby. We can get into a match that, well, there's no reason not to be brutally honest. There was a lot of predictions in the favour of Sweden, and I have to agree with them. I don't see a way to take it differently.
Yeah, Sweden with their former competitive experience, as well as Loda and Aka both being at the Gamescom show event for this game, definitely helps them out a bunch. So they already are familiar with the game.
Interestingly enough, the bans are really standard. First pick comes through as well. So not only you get rid of two of the most commonly banned characters, Alice for her extremely powerful support capabilities, Murad for his incredibly effective jungle capabilities. Then you bring in very, very commonly first-picked characters. This is much more standard to the meta than the games we saw from the non-pro teams early.
Yeah, we have to consider Joker's not being picked up. Now that is a pick that we saw some of the teams utilize in their matches. And right now, looking at these picks and bans, I'm a little bit surprised. Seems like both of the teams have done their homeworks on what's strong and what they should pick. Maybe they've consulted their teams, as actually now we have a little bit of a switch up with Maganga coming out. Now that is a so interesting pick because we don't get to see that often.
Yeah, he's been very powerful when we have seen him, but he just doesn't seem to be in the meta for the vast majority of teams. So maybe yet another example of the developing game, the developing meta, and maybe another example of superior beard-based decision-making.
That could be true. That absolutely could come into fruition here, as we're gonna have to see if that beard decision-making will continue throughout the game for these influencers.
French side completes their draft, and I'm gonna be honest, that's way more standard than I would have expected. The only real upset there for me is the Maganga.
Yeah, does look pretty standard from both of these teams besides the Maganga. Now I'm having a hard time figuring out how French side is gonna lane that. Maybe they have some sneaky strategies up their sleeves. They might do a 5 people middle push straight off the bat.
You know, you joke, but we did see that yesterday during rehearsals.
Yes, we did.
So there's no reason for it not to be effective, except for the fact that it's generally not effective. But we could be pioneering a new meta here. And I'm pretty excited to see what the French bring to the table.
Back into practice, we saw a lot of interesting things, like Turrets being the most valuable player of the team. So I'm really interested to see if the influencers are going to use that strategy and utilize those Turrets to the full effectiveness that they can have on the game.
Well, we now have fully loaded in, and so we should be able to get into game in just a moment. And I think the real story, once again, the French team, there's been some talk of maybe they played the game a bit more, but they are not the expected victors, if only because of the strength of competitive experience and MOBA experience over on the Swedish side.
Yeah, the Swedish side are looking dangerous, and we're going to have to see throughout the show if they're going to be able to perform and stand up to the standards that we are kind of comparing them to. And hopefully, this one is going to go all 3 games, and it's going to be a close one.
Yeah. This is even more of a wild card than the earlier games where we had a Swedish team that had only played 2 games or so in the competitive scene. We weren't sure what to do with what they would be doing. Now this is even more of a wild card because we haven't seen either of these teams play competitive. We know that individual players on both these teams have played in a decent setup before, but I don't know what to expect.
Yeah, we have no idea what to expect here. Everything can get turned upside down in a second here in this game, so we have no idea how these teams play prior to the games we're going to see today.
Well, I can't wait to find out. We see an early push here, the entire Swedish side going very deep into the jungle, and they're hunting for an early pickoff, and they may have one. I believe that's Gonza going very low.
Yeah, Forsen's gone low here, Kataga as well, and they're keeping the fight going. French side is falling lower and lower, and they have to be careful. Anka's going forward. The fight for blue buff is gonna happen. Then Endurance being used by Kataga, but it's gonna put him in a really bad spot because there was 4 players surrounding him when that one ended.
Yeah, Loda, Forsen, and the rest of the Swedish side will now fall out of the jungle. They don't have that Abyssal Dragon up yet. They're doing a great job turning those kills not into objective, no, but into map control. And that's what I want to see.
Yeah, map control is so important in these games. They need to be on top of it. If you can take away the enemy turrets, there's not going to be the safety of the turret damage, which we spoke pre-game, that the turrets are sometimes the MVP of these fights.
Okay, and Orb, they got pressured there in top lane, the French making their first real aggressive plays of the match so far, and that was cleaned up pretty quickly. Loda and Daedrich, though, they've just got the Soul Dragon, so that will give them vision into the jungle and an opportunity to punish Moban hard.
Yeah, the Abyssal Dragon is going to come up in 8 seconds here. Now that is something we have to see how these teams react to that. We know pro teams like to just kind of gank and take that objective, but pro teams might do something differently. They might not prioritize the Abyssal Dragon as much.
Yeah, those amateur teams earlier today were locking out the Abyssal Dragon almost as soon as it came up. And we do expect that, but it's also, once again, very important to make sure that you have the space to do it. And you can do that by securing map control, by securing kills, by faking out. But we need to see one of those plays from Sweden or France before they should feel comfortable just going for the Abyssal Dragon.
Yeah, Forsen's going to go on to Spirit Sentinel. We've spoke multiple times about that objective as well. Now, if Abyssal Dragon, you lose that fight or you lose that objective, it is rather hard hitting because of the gold lead that you get off of that. As we see Ake going to go in on top, and Forsen's going to try to find a battle rank, but he missed.
He said Forsen was going in on the Abyssal Dragon. I think the Abyssal Dragon won. So, with the aim of Kenny, the Abyssal Dragon, you know, they made an alliance. Kenny came through on the Zuka and pushed Forsen away from the Abyssal Dragon. And he managed to survive the fight. But, you know, to be honest, I'm not really rooting for Sweden or France. But I am really rooting for the Abyssal Dragon.
Abyssal Dragon is finally gonna find his opportunity to show himself, as it does look like the French side are gonna help him in this endeavor, as the Swedish side group up 4 people and just gank up on the Abyssal Dragon.
I'm pretty upset with that, to be honest, but the Swedes, despite their lack of honor shown fighting the Abyssal Dragon, do take a very good engagement with it. They lock out the rest of the map so that they can take it completely unhindered, and it works very well to their benefit, as now they do have a very slight gold lead and great map control.
So what you're saying is, with this Abyssal Dragon, that we should have some sort of movement that we should buff it so it can stand up against these players.
Oh, absolutely. Orb, in the meantime, though, he's taking heavy fire in the top lane. I love RK coming in, though. Oh, that's brutal. RK comes in for the side master snap. Should go down Orb, though. He gets a little bit too greedy, decides he can take the fight.
Orb really wanted that kill. He was chasing for such a long time. As Forsen's on the run for now, he's being focused out by Gotaga, as well as Kenny there being chased in the jungle. Meanwhile, on bottom lane, we're gonna see Loda as well as Drake gonna push the turret down, so they've established some of the map control.
Look at Kenny and Gotka. They are getting really far into the Swedish jungle, and they're going to be able to pick up a decent amount of jungle camps. They might be in trouble now, though, as Gotka will be knocked down incredibly low, and he should be going down. Natrix pops the Metamorphosis to secure this. Kenny, oh no, you should be running. Run!
Yeah, Kenny's gonna get the safety of the turret, but it's not gonna save him. Him was way too low, as we saw the side of Sweden roaming with all 5 people into the middle. They're gonna pick the turret. Top lane though, Violet is gonna get the turret with Valheim as well. So the gold difference is not gonna swing that much because they trade objectives.
And that does keep both sides kind of in this game. The Swedes are continuing to do a really impressive job, actually, though, of cleaning out jungle. It's a thing a lot of the amateur teams have really been working on improving. It's just the efficiency with which they can clean out jungle. And for a Swedish roster that isn't really an official roster and hasn't played very much as a team, they're doing a great job.
Yeah, Swedish sides are really efficient right now, but they've left some of the camps up. We don't usually see that from the non-pro teams, but the Swedish side does say, we're not going to take the small camps, they don't provide as much, and they just take the big bites out of the jungle, just taking those buffs to give them the advantage they need in these team fight scenarios.
Uh-oh. Forsen had a brief exploration with the wall, but they'll now go for the Abyssal Dragon. Again, Loda comes through as well, or it's a full team there, and well, the French aren't even contesting it. They've been pushed so far back by great map control that they're not really able to find much, and poor Moman's gonna get caught out.
Yeah, Moman's gonna get caught out here with the 5 members of Sweden are gonna come down to the bottom, and they're gonna clean him up as Arthur finds himself having to respawn from base, as Master Snake is gonna come through, and he's gonna fall as well. The French side lose 2 members as a turret is gonna get pushed here. Orb and the side of Sweden are looking for more. They're not gonna have any leeway for France.
Yeah, more towers go down. Again, great map control. Zerator, though, he's just pushing. He's got his siege engines just working away at that tower, though, so he's actually recalling back to the base. He'll play defense and allow his minion wave, which is very aggressively pushed, to begin doing damage onto the turret. And I like that. It's not going to secure them the turret right away, but if it's left unaddressed by the Swedes, it may take it down anyway.
Now, interesting note, this is shaping up to be kind of the same game that happened between Swedes and the French in the game 1 of the tournament. So what could happen is that the top lane gets pushed. Now, I'm sure the French side has told their team, you know what you should do is focus on top, just push that down the base, and continue pushing until you win the game. And that's a strategy they can use, as Metamorphosis is going to come through. The French side are going to take this fight. The Will Devourer gets cancelled by the movement coming through from Guac, and then the French side are losing a lot of members. Master Snake's gonna go down. Gotaka is the last member surviving. He's not gonna be able to do it, as he's gonna fall, and 4 members from the side of Sweden are gonna survive this fight and push for those objectives.
That may very well be a brutal blow, because the French, they took a very awkward fight there. They weren't able to come out on top, and now they've just lost so much ground. They're going to lose so many towers off of this. Like, we talked kind of jokingly about it, but I genuinely think it might be a great idea for France to try and sneak a backdoor through that bot line.
Yeah, they did it in the first game between the non-pro teams, so that would definitely be a strategy that could work here. As we see France advancing forward, they're confident and they can do it. As Drake, he's gonna be put to sleep here in just a second by the French side. The Crest is having a lot of difficulty escaping. Arthur's gonna give chase. Forsen's gonna come in from the side, but they cannot find the trades needed in the bottom lane. The Swedish side crumbling for now, as we have another casualty in this war. 3 people are gonna fall from the side of Sweden. We saw Ake pushing alone on the bottom side. He was unable to do major damage to the enemy base.
And that's actually quite good. I'd go as far as to say that puts France right back in the game. Sure, they're still pretty far behind in gold and kills, but they're able to get a lot of map control with that, and I'd love to see them convert that into Dark Slayer, which it looks like they're going for, or Abyssal Dragon. It looks like they're going for Dark Slayer.
Spirit Sentinel.
Or Spirit Sentinel near Dark Slayer. If they're able to get a series of objectives off of those kills, they can be right back into the game.
Yeah, it is by no means over. We can see one split push coming through in one part of the game, and it could be over in less than 30 seconds here for the side of Sweden. So we definitely have to keep our eye on the lanes that are being pushed to the high ground turret. We have to keep our eye out for the split pushes that can happen from both of these sides. As we see bottom lane, Sweden got to a split push there. And at the top lane, we can see the France doing the same thing.
Yeah, Datrix and Loda will be pushing together with the rest of their team, trying to come in on the side of this French team, and actually is looking quite good as they lean into the team fight.
Yeah, Sweden's looking for a great fight right now. They're 5,000 ahead. They really want to find the fight that they're comfortable with, right? You don't want to get a fight where you might be able to pull out ahead, because there's no need to take unnecessary risk at this point. They're so far ahead, they know it. They're gonna go for Dark Slayer. Now, this is a safe option here. They've cleaned up 2 lanes of tier 1 and tier 2 turrets, so they have a lot of map control. And now you're gonna head into the top lane off the back of this Dark Slayer to pick up even more turrets.
Yeah, and this may very well be another fatal blow, because they have so much to work with. But look at this mid lane push. Oh, I love this. The French team, if they decide to stick with this, which unfortunately it doesn't look like they're going to do, they could have absolutely caught the Swedes off guard. Instead, they're going to recall max their base and try and prepare for a team fight.
I would have liked to see the base race coming through in this game. That was a total possibility here as Zerator. Oh, that Batman stun's not gonna happen. Zerator is gonna tactical fire away. The Swedish side are gonna give chase, but they're being split up. The French side are focusing on middle. Trey has used the ultimate. The Metamorphosis is making him so tanky. Kenny, it has to run. He's falling low. But this side of Sweden have claimed the casualty in that war. They have picked up Master Snake as he has fallen in the jungle as that Valheim. So Swedish side having the numbers advantage for now.
They do what we were praising the amateur teams for doing now, which is you do a whole bunch of damage, you have a definite advantage, rest on your laurels, make sure that you're able to convert that into a victory by playing slow, careful and safe. And now they go for a team fight. They'll annihilate Kenny and be looking for more.
Yeah, the damage coming through from the Swedish side is just so big. We've talked about a few of the times when we had Telana's picks in the tournaments as well as the qualifiers, that she is such a high-range character, right? The Eagle Eye comes through and suddenly Telana's is hitting you from so far away. There's no way to initiate on her. So that is definitely something that the Swedish side is utilizing here.
Yeah, Loda's been having a great time on that character. You can see him responsible for an ultimate there as he continues to find kill after kill, and he'll be, oh my god, with a double here, just looking for this final push on the main, and I think it may very well be coming through as Moman, Kotka and Kenny are the only players here to defend.
Kenny, Kotka, and Moman are there to defend, and Swedish side are not going to give up right now, or the French side, my apologies there, as they lose a member. Molman is going to be the next to follow. Kataga is the only member surviving for the French. Will he be able to push back the Swedish side? Will he be able to stop this from happening, as it's not going to happen? The ace, as well as the base push, is going to come through from the Swedish side as they claim game one of this best of 3 series.
No, it is a BO3, it is never again. And we know that we brushed on the fact that the French team hasn't played together much, so it is entirely possible we now see them maybe take a deep breath, get in the Zen zone, and work together as a unit. And maybe this is kind of a 3-part anime storyline for the French team, right? It's part 1, and they're at the bottom. It's also the hero's journey, right? Part 1, they're at the bottom of their luck. It's not the best. Part 2, they'll begin to kind of put things together, but they're still kind of scrambling. Maybe they get a game, and then part 3 is the triumphant act. You know, the season finale, and he gets to be the chosen one. I'm not sure who it is. Probably the guy with the sunglasses.
From zero to hero real quick is what you're saying for
yes,
the French
definitely.
side.
Well, Renee, I'm sure you have plenty of thoughts on anime, so let's throw it back over to you.
Thanks, and I think TJ actually got lost in all the episodes of this movie or series. But what we saw was basically shoes off, game on, at least for the French team. Everyone took off their shoes, but we saw Sweden taking first spot, a bit similar to what we saw on your games, guys. And then they went all crazy, running around, trying to pick up kills. I mean, they got a lot of objectives, but hey, 8 minutes 33, there was nearly a comeback from the French squad.
Well, I've seen also maybe a comeback, but yeah, I think they was too scared, and yeah, you could hear them screaming while they got a kill, so it was kind of funny.
That's where we had the best atmosphere here. I'm not sure if you guys hit that out there, but everyone was screaming it, shouting at each other, trying to get a kill. And we see some of the highlights
this
of
was the first
the game where Master Snack actually gets snagged off by Aki and his teammates. Well, Aki lost one as well. We saw a lot of trades come in. Sometimes you didn't even expect them. It looked like the Swedes were in control of everything. And then Front was just pushed back saying, hey, we can kill someone as well.
Yeah, actually they look really more prepared, that's sure. I can see it by their team play, etc. So for people who are not used to play this game, it's really good actually. If they want, they could be a good team if they still practice together, etc.
Was the Dark Slayer more or less the end of the match, taking it and then trying to push through? Was that like the sign for the French, hey guys, we got a Slayer, now it's over?
Oh, I definitely think that was a big reason why Team Sweden won. First of all, you can see as well how Ake and Loda is coordinating the team, what to do, when to do that, and sort of like they're having a really good leadership that day.
All right, still, we got look at that Dryage getting picked off. That was the moment where I was pretty sure it could be a French comeback. They were pushing, they're getting Dryage, they're getting Loda. That was a chance for them. Even if Kenny died over there at the tower, it was still looking good. And then Sweden just came back, as they said in the videos of the non-pro team, striking hard if they do so. And they did, going over to that base, making sure that it's done and dusted, nothing is left of that base.
Definitely. Like the only thing I actually remember when the French team was about to enter the base, that they were screaming, Batman, 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 Batman. And I like that, I lost it there. But yeah, I mean, the Swedes definitely did just scramble their base, turned it into dust.
France took the first 3 points in today's Week 1 competition here at the Arena of Vela non-pro tournament. But in this series of the internet celebrities. It's currently Sweden leading the series by 1 over France. We will be back shortly with the second game of the series. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the studio. Welcome back to the Arena of Vela Non-Pro Tournament 2017. We're still in the series, best of 3 of Sweden versus France. The internet celebrities now need to show their skill, and so far, with Sweden taking map number 1. They're currently leading the series 1-0, obviously, when we only play one map. But what can France do different in round 2 to get that?
Maybe they'll be more confident in their skill, and I think they can have a chance to win. Yeah, I think because they were a little bit too scared about the fact that they have
they are so aggressive, and yeah, so I think more confidence and it will be better.
Well, I actually agree with him, most likely, because I think he's the better guy here in this between us. So I think he's knowing what he's saying. So yeah, I'm agreeing with him.
More confidence after what we saw in this, like the performance when they walked into the arena. They looked pretty confident, but the gameplay is lacking a bit right now. They need to overcome the Swedish strikes to get a chance to get themselves another 3 points in the scorecard of Frangs. But it seems like everyone is getting ready for round 2. TJ and Vision, are you guys ready?
I mean, with a game like that one, how can you not be ready?
Yeah, we're definitely ready to go for game 2. That was exciting game 1, and hopefully we'll continue to see some beard strategies come through as well.
Yeah, look, I've never had a beard, right? I don't think it would look good on me, but if I did grow one out, I assume it would be a transcendent experience. Right, because everyone I know who has a magnificent beard is really happy with their magnificent beard. And secondly, I assume I'd instantly become much better at video games, because I know a ton of bearded people, and they're all really good at video games.
Yeah, that could help you a lot.
I don't think you're fully on board with this plan.
Well, there's no scientific evidence, so you would be the first one to actually test the theory.
Okay, well, I am a scientist, so I'll get right back to you on that. In the meantime, though, I do believe we have a draft coming up, so we can focus on that. And we talked about game 1. It was a very, very bog-standard draft for the meta, and I kind of expect this. The players probably have played this at a casual level, not as a team, so you turn to the non-pro teams, the amateur teams who have been playing through all these qualifiers. You say, hey, what's the meta? And they play off that.
Yeah, most definitely these guys have had consultation with their respective teams in the non-pro series right now. So I would say they've definitely done a lot of stuff to maximize their chances here.
Yeah, banning Vera is a little bit interesting. I'm curious to know exactly what that is. We don't typically see Vera banned. She's a support type character, lots of stuns, and in the mage category.
I'm expecting to see Batman versus Joker matchup here.
I don't know.
And I'm basing it off of the fact that everybody in the French side in the lobby had a Batman icon. Well, the other side, they had Joker.
Yeah.
So I'm expecting a Batman versus Joker matchup here.
I thought that was an excellent effort at team coordination there. Perhaps more team coordination there from the French team in the lobby than we saw the entirety of last game.
Yeah, that could be used to describe the situation here. Sweden still not picking up the Joker. Their interesting way of going about draft. Maybe they don't want to reveal it way too early. So they're keeping it as the last pick, the surprise.
A slot for another marksman. If they'd like to pull out the Joker, it would fit with their current team composition. We'll see if it comes in. As they do have that final pick. Or make the decision we need. Don't make the decision you want, make the decision we need.
So make it for the classical clash between Batman versus Joker in the DC universe that we've seen many times. Oh, it's not gonna happen. We're not gonna see the clash of Titans of TC here. But what's gonna happen is we're gonna see these two influencer teams clashing up against each other.
The shoes are still off for the Swedish side. There's a lot of cross-legged sitting there, and I do kind of have to question that. Because if you're sitting cross-legged, right, on a bench like that, don't your feet fall asleep?
I don't know. That is a good question.
Have you ever done that?
Yeah, I have, but I guess it comes down to how much you've actually practiced sitting like that.
Yeah, no, definitely some really interesting sitting techniques coming out there from the French side.
But maybe it's a strategy.
Yeah, so you see, when your feet become dead, right, that means that there's more blood to go to your brain, and it makes you think faster.
That gives you more opportunity to be on top of your game, on top of the focus levels.
I'm starting to think this isn't true. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure that's not how science works.
But then again, we aren't scientists here, so we don't really know.
Oh, okay. Shoes are all on. There's no cross-legged sitting over on the Swedish side. They are dead serious. They are here to win.
Maybe the Swedish side actually gains enlightenment from the shoes. Maybe that's why they're so good at grouping around.
You know, I think that's unlikely, but a lot of people care a lot about shoes. You see sneakers going for quite a high amounts at auction these days.
That could be true. But the Swedish side, they use boots to move around. And so do their characters, so that has a direct correlation. Maybe the French side are a little bit slow because they don't have boots on in the arena.
Better coordination, better movement speed. Wear shoes while playing Arena of Valor. Well, we'll see. The player draft did come through earlier. From that, it was a pretty major switch up. I would like to note Loda is staying on Telenas, and you can see that here on screen. And they were quite terrifying towards the end of last game on that character.
Yeah, Loaded really picked it up in the later stages of the game. We saw Ake doing absolutely wonderful work, went 10-0-9 in the game. He was doing everything for his team in the mid game, and that's exactly what you need from middle lane. And going into the late, you want to have that AD carry, just taking his role and just carrying you in the late.
Yeah, they've got a bit more standard setup here at the beginning here as well. Actually, no, I was going to say the Swedes are spreading out, covering all the lanes, but now they've got 3 grouped up in the jungle here, going for the Sage column. We'll see if they stick together after they convert this Sage column. Maybe go a little bit aggressive as a unit. I'd love to see that, but it looks like it'll, go back to the more standard player predicted, 1-2-2.
Yeah, what's interesting though, we see a switch up from the non-pro teams. We see Orb on the Grok, heading to top rather than to the bottom, where we usually see Grok. And we see Crashed, who's usually, when those two are picked, going up to the top, be on the bottom lane and helping out Telenas.
Yeah, Gorgata in the mid lane is engaging Ake here, and this is kind of an interesting matchup for a couple different reasons, and so far, it's an entirely French one, at least in results.
Yeah, right now, everybody's just farming. It's a lot slower start to the game than it was previously, as we see French side, or Swedish side, trade some blows with French side on the bottom.
Yeah, they get the minion lead here, and this allows them to start working with the Soul Dragon. Of course, if they get this Soul Dragon, then they send out a little kind of scouting orb that goes deep into the jungle of the enemy team and gives them vision on a few different things.
Yeah, Batman's gonna come in for a gank. The Genny, with the impeccable timing, Zerator is taking a lot of auto-attack damage from Loda. He's still laying down the law. He's trying to find that damage, but Batman picks up the first blood with the Batarang, and this is already, I was gonna say, better start for French, but then they lose one player in the middle lane.
Yeah, the kill's now tied up 1-1. Orb can't have been too happy with that, but everything seems to have worked out, and indeed they've got Zerator and Master Snake just tied up in these bottom bushes, so there's not really much punish going through, even though they did lose a player there.
Yeah, the French side are being rather contained here for the moment. They're not roaming around trying to find these pecks as we have Abyssal Dragon spawn now. And what I would like to see from the French side that would change from the last game is the control of the Abyssal Dragon. They gave it away for free so many times as we see Forsen. It's gonna come in for a gank. He's gonna miss the stun. The tornado comes through from Ake as they're gonna do some damage. Master's gonna escape under the turret, and Zerator's laying down the damage. Forsen's gonna fall here. Zerator might be the next one to go. Swedish team are looking for this kill. They can't find it, but instead they are gonna put some damage down onto this bottom turret.
They did lose a player there, but that was very well handled, all things considered, by the French duo there. Zerator was able to stay alive thanks to a timely intervention by Master Snack, and they were able to trade evenly. Up top as well, Kenny and Moman are able to work together to take down Orb, and that's 2 examples now of pretty great teamwork from the French side, and that's given them the slight lead in kills.
Yeah, French side are really stepping up from game 1, but you have to look at the money. The kills always tell a story, but so does the money. We look at the money, it's a little bit in favor of the Swedish side. Even though they're losing in kills, they're farming better across the map and getting that money to their pocket.
Yeah, we kind of talked about that last game. We said that they had a great farm situation, and they also have the lead in turret takedowns, so that gives them slightly more gold. And here's the Abyssal Dragon actually getting started up by RK and David over on the Swedish side.
The miss by Batman once again. The stun's not gonna happen. Metamorphosis does come through. Loda with that damage. They're gonna lose a member. Jinar's gonna go down at the French side. Try to advance forward. Kenny's gonna find a beautiful pick onto Loda, who does fall. Trey is gonna give chase to Kenny. He's not gonna find it. The bush is gonna help him out. Kenny is so masterful at juking. Oh my god, he's gonna be able to escape for now as Trey finds himself in a lot of trouble. Kenny, do not turn back at this point. You've got in the way. You need to stay safe as we have Trey still gonna give chase to Batarang. He's gonna deal a little bit of damage. This stun. Oh my god, then Kenny turns it around. He picks up the kill as he's gonna be able to get away as well with the sliver of HP that he had left while chasing.
God. I haven't seen a better turnaround. I don't think ever. That was incredibly well done by Kenny. He manages to stay alive, although all his good work may have been undone here because they don't get the Abyssal Dragon off of that, and indeed Loda and Forsen are able to instantly find a punish, turn it around, and start growing their own lead despite the fact that they weren't able to get the Abyssal Dragon.
Yeah, they lose 2 members now. Off the back of that fight, I would say French was looking so strong, but then they lose 2 members to overextend in the bottom lane, stay under the turret. Loda, as well as Trey, come into the bottom, and they're going to be able to do so much damage there that it's insane.
And here's the second attempt at the Abyssal Dragon by the Swedish side, and we'll be able to chop it up into mince meat this time, but no intervention. Looks like they'll get Soul Dragon as well. Loda just getting a little bit of extra scam for his team as they kind of pushes a unit down towards bottom lane, and this should be lethal.
Yeah, Swedish side is gonna go in. They're gonna find 2 members from the French side, but the French are coming for them. Forsen's gonna fall. It's a 3-for-3 right now. Ak is gonna be on the run. Trey is trying to run away. The Metamorphosis finally comes out from Trey as he's gonna stop the advancement from the French side. Kenny has to run now. He's falling lower and lower.
Oh, no.
One more out attack will do it. They can't find it as Kenny once again is going to be able to escape clutches of death.
Kenny and Zerator are racing back to their base. They'd like to not be on 1 HP. And the rest of the Swedes will be recalling. I think the last time I saw that efficient a recall of a Swedish product, there were horse meat and meatballs involved. Yeah, but you don't need an IKEA.
I'm not from Sweden. We don't have IKEA in Estonia, so...
Really? Huh. I don't think I'd be alive with that IKEA. I guess this is why I'm rooting for the Swedes. But that might be a bit of a bad situation. Kenny goes in. He'll be able to trade evenly on what should have been an easy kill for Forsen. And now if he threatens Loda, this could get deadly.
Batman's in a bloodbath. They really have to be careful with Kenny. He's doing so much work for this French side. And if Batman does get way far ahead, it can turn really dangerous really quick for the Swedish side.
Kenny will be cleaning up a few jungle camps with the rest of the team. But Moman's getting a little bit of pressure up top. And this should be the turret taken down. Oh no, Orb might be able to save the day because he drew the fire of that siege engine. Orb came in, he drew the anchor of the siege engine and took all the damage, and he's gonna save the turret as a result.
Yeah, I wanted to see the siege engine on a mission. It looked like it had that turret in his sights. He was looking determined. But we got the switch into the middle lane. They took a turret as we have Moman is going to have to run as the 3 members from the Swedish side are going to rotate up top as finally the Siege Minion is successful in the mission. I believe that's the next generation of Siege Minions coming through there for the French side and helping them out in the top lane. Meanwhile, on the middle lane, we have a fight. Batman's finally going to get shot down. Forsen and Ake are going to give chase to Kataga, who's going to be slowed out. The Nirvana is going to come through. Will the movement speed be enough? Forsen is falling lower and lower, and he's going to be killed here as for now, Katanga gets the safety. French players consistently escaping with 10 HP.
Yeah, Zerator and Moman came in there at just the right time, and Gotaga, there's no other way to put it than he saved himself. Brilliantly done. However, unfortunately, the Swedish side are, as always, brutally efficient with the jungle camps. They've taken out the Spirit Sentinel, they're looking for a bit more.
Yeah, Swedish side, basic question, the side of French, are consistently escaping with 10 HP. Maybe Swedish players don't have the necessary damage to finish them. And if they're unable to finish the kills now, we see money being fairly even at this point of the game. Maybe a French side could actually come back into this game and turn this around with one good fight.
And it could be this Abyssal Dragon if they go for it. This is a dangerous opportunity. The Swedes go for this Abyssal Dragon without clearing the fight. It could be dangerous. Master Snack, though, that's an unfortunate situation. He will go down easily. Oh my god, a great hook as well from Orb.
Yeah, Orb with the great hook through the wall is gonna claim one of the members, as we're gonna see Batman on the run now. Sweden is gonna chase this one down, and Batman's gonna fall. We have Jinar and Arthur both escaping. Taga and Moman are gonna be successful at saving themselves. And as we see, Taga is gonna head to middle. They want to get that turret in response to the push happening at bottom. They're gonna force Swedish players into the mid lane to defend or possibly try to find a pick onto him.
Actually, it looks like we're seeing Darkslayer attempted here by the Swedes as they eventually all fall back. Katiga, he's so deep inside the Swedish jungle, and he's just recalling, minding his own business. I love it.
Yeah, escaping there with just teleporting back, which is usually a good idea if you know roughly where the 5 members of the enemy team are.
You know, Daedrich and the rest of the Swedish side are again...
Moman!
Just hovering around this. Moman, what is this? How is it working?
The damage from the French side is gonna be absolutely insane. A beautiful engagement. They've lost 4 members. Ake is on the run. Will he be able to be picked off here by the French side? Will they get the ace? We have Kataga that is gonna give chase to Ake. Ake with the Windblade once again is gonna slow them down. Ake is gonna turn around. That's a mistake because he's gonna get taken down. The Thane ultimate coming through in the end as well as Ake gets cleaned up, and finally the French side find themselves an ace to help them out in this game too.
Fantastic play, but if they're not able to turn this into an objective, there's really almost no point to them getting the kills, and they're taking far too long. Stop going for the small jungle camps. Take the Darkslayer now. Take the Spirit Sentinel now. And I think they've waited far too long. You can already see the Swedish players coming back in, and despite an excellent series of kills, French really didn't get much for it. No turrets go to them, no major objectives go to them.
Yeah, the gold lead doesn't kind of switch around here. There's nothing major on the map that the French side really eliminated from the Swedish side. Darkslayer is still up. That's an objective the Swedish team could go for right now. They're not going to take the risk. They're going to go for the safe play because they just lost the fight. It's too risky for them to go for the Darkslayer right now. But if they would want to, they could theoretically go for it because French side does not have too much map control on their own side.
Oh, they're looking for something. Moman in particular, like a piece of him, but the Swedes will be threatened off as Kenny and Master Snake join in the fun.
The French side really needs to find a couple of kills and turn them into objectives at this point. They really need to do that. Now we see turrets as well as Abyssal Dragons both being in favor of Swedish. And the French side really needs to find some money to get those items, to get themselves live, and to have a chance of really dominating this game too.
And the longer the French don't get any major objectives, the more hard it gets for them to take these team fights. They do find an excellent split though, forcing so far away from the rest of his team, they're able to find big damage from it.
Taga is going to be focused down on the backline. Loda's going to come in from that side. He's laying down the auto attack. He's not being focused. Finally, Master Snake is going to keep focus on him. The Metamorphosis is going to come through. Master Snake on the run while Arthur is going to give chase to Zill on the backline. Master Snake still on the run. Loda is going to be pushed back, and Master Snake is surviving from now, but he's going to fall in just a second. Loda picks up the kill as Trey is going to survive and help Loda out in picking up Master Snake.
French team again playing so carefully, and it's just beginning to add up against them because this careful play is costing them opportunities. They go in hard, they'll get dangerous here, and Loda is very low as well. This is a great chance.
Loda flickers away to get the safety. Smart decision there. They do not need to lose these members. They have to get the safety. If you're going to start losing members at this stage, it could still turn into objectives.
Yeah, look at the gold lead here. 5 or 6k in favor of the Swedish side, and that's very significant given how far behind they are in kills, and that's representative not just the fact that the Swedes have been doing excellent jungling, but also representative of the fact that the French haven't been doing much with the kills they've been getting. Normally you get 3-4 kills, you instantly pick up Darkslayer, pick up the Abyssal Dragon, at least get Spirit Sentinel, and we haven't seen that from the French.
Yeah, the French side hasn't capitalized on the mistakes that the Swedish side have made in this game. As it looks like a possible setup for a fight here. French side is not going to have luck with this one because they have only 3 members in middle, so that's going to go horribly wrong for them if they decide to take this right now. But now they're finally grouped up, as we're going to see French side are going to initiate in, as we have Moman on the back line. He's going to initiate down onto the back line. Loda's going to fall. Loda, Batman finds the kill onto the Dane ultimate, and that damage coming through. Orb, as well as Dre are still alive. Gataga has to be careful because he's the only damage alive for the French side. Orb is gonna fall lower and lower. The pushback is there from Dane, and it's looking so good for the French side. It's an ace and a double kill for Thane as they find the necessary lead that they want to have right now.
And they convert it into a tower, doubly important. Now they get something for it. And I want to see them now. Don't wait for the minion wave, because it's going to take a while for you to get this next turret. You're not going to be able to get it with the minion wave. So instead, fall back or tank the damage from the turret. Also a possibility, but not a very viable one.
They can't right now. They do not have the auto attack damage. They have Jinnar as well as Thane.
Nobody told Master Snack that.
Master Snack is also Kotaga.
He was eating those turret attacks for breakfast.
Yeah,
having a quick snack.
None of them can really hardly force a turret push come through because they do not have the auto attack damage. Jinnar being a mage, Kotaga on that. They're not going to deal a huge chunk of damage. They get some of the damage down, so if the next push is going to happen, the higher turret is going to fall. But other than that, they do not have the auto attack damage to take that one down.
Loda's taking this Abyssal Dragon.
Oh, it's reset.
Oh, no.
Unfortunate there.
Oh, it takes twice as long as a result, but I think he'll still manage to get it. That was a bit unfortunate. Well done, Loda, though. He stuck through. Who knew? He was playing a tank after all.
Abyssal Dragon just wanted to return home. Loda really disturbing the peace of the jungle there with his way of doing things and being aggressive there, as we see the French side are going to try to find another good fight. Now, thus far, they've done really well, considering the fact that they're actually behind on money.
Moman's coming through, trying for a hard initiate, and actually it's quite good. If his team can follow up behind it, this could be great. Well, Moman's been shut down. He gets caught on that rock and instantly annihilates as a result. Kenny, though, again, dives deep. He goes for it and shuts down Forsen in the back lines.
Aka is going to get hit by the Batarang as well. He's going to get cleaned up. Kenny is doing so much work for the French side. Forsen gets hit by the Batarang. Will he fall? Yes, he will. That's triple kill for Kenny. He is bringing his team home. He's doing the damage necessary. He's keeping the hopes of the French side alive. Now, this wasn't the perfect fight for them, but they've done enough damage so that the Swedish side can't push their advantage any further right now.
Yeah, again, though, we see an unfortunate habit of the French side. Dare I say, the French just seem to keep retreating. And you can see that from Master Snake there. The team fight wasn't decided yet, and he'd already withdrawn. He'd already shown that white flag, if you will. And that really did cost them the opportunity to turn that fight around.
I just want to commend Kenny and Kenny's play. He's played out of his mind on Batman. Really deserves a lot of credit here. He took down Loda, he took down Ake, as well as Forsen. So he took down 3 of the enemy carries alone. So that is definitely a big thing going for French team, is that they want to have this Batman be as disruptive as possible.
Crucially, Kenny, props to him, every single fight he dives into the backlines. Instead of trying to take the fight on the first initiators, he goes in, finds Loda, finds another DPS trying to hover at the back of the fight, be it Loda, be it Forsen. I believe he got both of them the last fight, and that is exactly what his role should be doing in the middle of fights like that.
Batman's going to find this Dark Slayer happening, but there's nothing he can do about it. Dark Slayer buff. He's going to go to the hands of the Swedish team.
Yeah, and that gives them, of course, the buff now. They have an excellent series of fights. Should the French team take it, they're almost guaranteed to lose, so they need to just huddle up inside their base, use the towers to try and gain some semblance of a fair fight while this Dark Slayer buff is applied.
Yeah, in the practice, turrets working really well for these teams. They need to find the way of utilizing them in this game as well. The French need to find their inner strength in this game too right now to force the enemies back from this aggressive push, as Zerator on the Violet is one of the most capable ones of pushing back this push that is happening right now because of the tactical fire hits that you can do onto the enemies from afar.
Yeah, well, we will see them continue to apply this pressure, continue to take down turrets. The tier 3 turrets, the high ground turrets are beginning to fall now. And this means that if the Swedes can manage this final push, get a kill, and off that initiation be able to shut down the second high ground turret, they've almost been guaranteed the game.
The French team, they need to find initiation.
Yeah.
They can't let Telana's Eagle Eye poke the turrets. They need to initiate, and they need to do it now. And that's the initiation. Kenny is gonna now go on to loadout. The French side are finding all other members of the Swedish side, but it's going so wrong for Sweden right now. They're losing members consistently as Loda right now is being able to do the damage necessary. Violet falls, and it's a turnaround for the Swedish side. They find those kills. Master Snake, the last one alive. He's gonna run. He's staying. Will he survive? The Windblade is gonna finish him off. The Zill coming through with the ace for the Swedish side, as this is gonna be game 2, going over to the Swedish side in a spectacular finish to this game 2.
27 to 27 is the final scoreline on the characters, and I'm very pleased with that. Sure, the French didn't win, but it was no secret we considered them the underdog. So to see them take it that close makes me very, very pleased.
Yeah, the French side looking really strong there in the end. Incredible performance coming out of them, especially Kenny. We can see now at 10, 6, and 12 coming through for him. So that is definitely impactful player, as well as a hero that Batman usually we're used to seeing.
Here's my question. We're seeing a lot of camera shots of the Swedish side, and I'd love to see, if possible, I'd love to see a camera shot of the French side putting their shoes back on. I want to see how that looks, you know, the science of it. But you know who had an excellent angle on that? Renee, I need a full report. If possible.
Don't worry, we can smell that they just put their shoes on. So you don't need a shot about that. Well, what a game we had on our hands. I was looking at the game totally done with myself, like, wow, so many amazing action. Early game, we saw France taking a bit of a lead, not on gold side, but on kills. They had first blood. They managed to pick a fight at the Abyssal Dragon to make sure their team is keeping alive, getting back into the game. But it seems like Sweden was still stronger, like having the objectives. Is that something they need to learn?
Yeah, I think definitively they have more experience, I mean, in terms of MOBA, but actually I was kind of impressed. I mean, like you can see actually in this game, like they were still managed, you know, to take some distance in the fight and able to catch, but they didn't manage to take, you know, some objectives after fights, so they could not go forward.
Yeah, I think like the French team looked throughout the entire game quite stable. For me, it looked like they played a very clean game, and this game was intense, completely intense throughout the entire stages.
It was intense for sure. And it was actually Kenny in the early game really showing the strength of single plays of France, making sure to keep Batman alive so often. He was running away, being chased by the Swedish team over and over again, but he kept alive. No clue how he did that, but he did it a lot and made sure that France was still in there. But then we also saw Sweden taking all the camps, all the jungle, even the objectives when they were down a man. So France not making sure to actually build on their kills, trying to get the snowball rolling in their favor. But how did they not see that? How did the Swedish team be so strong to say, we're a man down, we're still going for objectives?
Well, honestly, I think it shines through a bit that they still have Aka and Loadout. They basically knows how to turn this type of games, the situation. They can read it, basically. So I think that even though the situation, I think they're still having a smart game plan upcoming.
Well, actually, I think it's just more like lacking of experience in the team, but it's okay. I think I was already impressed by how they played as a team for the second game. They didn't move that I didn't expect, so I'm already very happy for them.
The French team definitely played very well. They took 2 aces against the Swedish team, make sure they know that they're still here to win the game and still run for that. But in the end, after the third Abyssal Dragon, which was taken by Loda solo without anyone from France noticing it, it was Loda also saving the day. for the Swedish team. So he took the whole big team fight. Was it something about them not noticing him down the corner? He was still in the bush, taking all the shots, making sure that he lays down damage on the opposing team. Did they knew that? Did France knew about it and just couldn't do anything about it? Or just did they miss it?
Honestly, I think the French people, they did really good against it because I saw Batman plenty of times just focusing right targets. So I think Loda wasn't really left in peace so many times. Like it happened in the end, but when he was just out damaging it, nothing he could do. Batman, I should say.
Well, actually, it's true that Batman has a really good positioning, especially to assassinate, the carries behind, and yeah, he was just free, But actually, I want also to highlight the positioning of the Jinar. Sometimes in the team fight, like, okay, I'm going to dive in, they are all bold in one single place, and yeah, dealing so much damage, and yeah, it helps a lot in team fights. Just a shame that they didn't were able to push.
Many kills on the side of France, many objectives on the side of Sweden. So far in week 1, we saw France taking 3 points in the non-pro tournament, and then Sweden taking another 3 in the celebrity match. We got both teams on the podium with Spike, and I'm pretty sure that will give us more insight on the game.
Game, fantastic. Zerator, zut alors! What happened? Tell me.
I will not comment the first game because it was our training camp. But second game was really close, and we were... Sorry, I screamed a bit. Yeah, all the team fight were just Loda, focus Loda, oh my god, are you so dumb? And yeah, we did not make it, but we did 27-27 at the final scores, so we are really happy about it.
Look, Loda, to be honest, there were some very close matches there, some team fights. Kenny was really strong. How did it feel coming up against that Batman?
Well, I mean, we had a feeling that they wanted a Batman. After the first game, they have 5 Batman pictures. But we were a little bit overconfident, maybe. We let it go. They took it, and it felt like the game kind of started off in their way, But I tried to keep everyone calm, tell them to protect me. I will carry them. So on.
Loda, you've been in this position many times before. Obviously, no stress for you. I noticed your telenas was very strong. A lot of really good micro, really good positioning. At one time, I saw you, really using those brushes to cover yourself as you did the damage to the enemy team.
Yeah.
What is it about that? Why telenas? Why did you decide to go with that champion?
Actually, truth be told, I wasn't planning on playing the carry in these games today, and I had practiced something else, but 1 or 2 of our players kind of backed out on that. So a big shout out to Kelly. She's the one who taught me how to play Telenas. I actually played a lot with her duo queue, and she played Telenas, I played Crashed, and I texted her and asked her for some builds and some secret tips, and it really worked out. Yeah.
There you go. You haven't been getting your secret tips. That's the problem, Zerator. So, look, France did very well in the non-pro tournament earlier today. You guys didn't do so well. It's, 3 points each. How do you feel? What are you going to do to be able to come back from this position?
The main problem was the Dota experience because we were so out-rotated, like they took 1 tower and 1 tower, 1 tower, 1 tower, 1 tower, and then we couldn't do anything. So, yeah, I don't know. We will fight against Spain, I think, in November. Can be easier for us, I think. But, yeah, we'll definitely do our best, I hope.
Look, and Loda, obviously, the non-pro team for Sweden didn't perform as well as you did today. I can imagine Jönköping being at DreamHack Winter is something that's very important to your team. What do you think that you need to do to get there, and will the non-pro team see any mentorship throughout this process?
Yeah, sure. I think that they could improve a lot with little time. I think that with just a few comments here and there, they could make their game a lot more even. I think that they played against one of the best teams, perhaps in the whole tournament, coming from France. But I feel like if they did not panic as much as they actually did, and if you're losing a tower, give it up, do something else at the same time. Don't waste time, and just be calm and have fun.
Very good. Well, listen, you guys have seen a masterclass in play there today, especially that last game. Let's take a quick look at the points and standings to see where we are at the end of week 1 of the Arena of Valor non-pro tournament. We have France, Sweden, Germany and Spain all tied on 3 points. Remember, those teams that had the internet celebrities playing have 1 game ahead from the offline environment, with Italy and the UK on 0 points, unfortunately. But there is still a lot to play for on that road to DreamHack Winter and the $100,000. For those of you at home, do not forget to join in our giveaways. You can see the URLs now on your screen. You can win yourself an iPhone 8 or an iPhone X, and that will really get you playing and practicing Arena of Valor for when it comes to be your turn on the stage or online playing competitively. That's it from all of us here at the studio. A huge thank you to all the players, a huge thank you to Rene, to TJ and to Envision, and most importantly, a huge thank you to you guys at home for tuning in and watching and joining us in the first week of the Arena of Valor non-pro tournament. Good night.